thick.
And then I heard Black Flag, and then I got into punk.
Yeah.
We know on about that stupid shit.
I think that will be the beginning right there.
From Mr. Rogers to...
From
That's the
Mr.
problem
Rogers to Black Flag.
with us two, people want to interview us about bands, or bands or punk. We're talking about like our childhood.
I remember picking up In My Head. That was the one just like... So I don't even know what year that would have been. I remember
That's our last one. That was like 85. I think it was released 85.
You say like 85 or 86.
Yeah. And I remember picking that record up and just seeing the artwork on it. It's like Pettibon's. I mean, it was like on all the other...
Yeah, that one has all the...
Yeah, I remember like picking up. Yeah, and it was like, and of course the reason I liked it was because it was like the teacher is like making the grade and whatever, and like his woman, whatever. And the teacher, it was just creepy. It's creepy as fuck. That what was the other one? Was the person who took this picture is dead.
Cloud.
Yeah.
But that was like
that guy
that was
in his
like
underwear
an
lying by a door, and there's a cop in the doorway. I think the caption reads, I speak no language, or I don't speak any language, or something like that.
Yeah. Huh. But seeing that kind of creeped me out, but it attracted me to it. You know, it was just like it was like Pettibon's artwork, just like
Definitely.
that was my. I almost want to say that was my introduction to punk. Was like his artwork. You know. I mean, in a weird way, but.
What were you listening to before that?
Metal.
Bay City Rollers. Metal.
No, I remember watching Bay City Rollers. Remember that?
That was not
show?
really a joke.
No.
Yeah.
I know
I like the Bay City Rollers. We're in Wyndham. But I just remember that show. That's what got me interested in like music. I don't know. Maybe it was like television shows like that. You know. Seeing music on television, watching like I don't know, Soul Train and
Monkeys.
The
Monkeys reruns when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My oldest sister, is at the age that she was an actual Monkeys fan and Beatles fan when she was a kid. Or like the mid '60s.
Yeah.
And those are like the first records I ever listened to. She was, I keep saying was. She is. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. She's the oldest, so I mean she's got at least 20 years on me or so. So she was, when I was a little kid, she was already married and moved out of the house, and I was like digging around in the basement and found a stack of records, and they were all Beatles and Monkeys. And they were hers. And original. I mean, if I still had them, they'd probably be worth something. They were all like original first press of like the first few Beatles and Monkeys records, and I played them on the little record player I had. And
ruined them.
Probably.
Dude,
well,
she
ruined the cover. She would write on the covers, and just like, because she was probably like 14, 15. I think like young girls at the time just wrote like cutesy little things, like "Marry Me, John Lennon," or stuff.
Draw a heart around.
Or heart around, Mickey Dolenz or something.
Yeah, Ringo's face.
But there's a record, you might remember which one, you might even have it. It's one of their albums. It might be Meet the Monkees. And on the back it has 4 individual pictures of them, and then it has like stats. Has their names, where they were born, their eye color, their hair color, their weight. Like goofy, like stuff that teeny bopper kids, girls would have cared about back then. And she corrected it. Apparently it was wrong in her mind. And she like scratched out with a pen,
Peter has green eyes.
Yeah, and she like wrote this stuff in, and that really fascinated me as like a 5-6-year-old kid or whatever. I was like, what? But I remember listening to them. I still honestly really like the Monkees. Beatles didn't really stand the test of time for me. I don't like dislike them, but I don't really care for them as much. And she did have like all the like suit and tie, I Want to Hold Your Hand Beatles stuff.
Yeah.
Which was whatever. But that's probably what really. And then my other sister, who is a few years younger than her, gave me her records, and her records were like the Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, and that's what really stuck. That's what really hit me.
Yeah.
Sabbath, like listen to Sabbath as a little. I still have her Black Sabbath Paranoid. Mm-hmm. I think I have her Machine Head. I have Led Zeppelin 3. I don't like Led Zeppelin much. Sorry, Rob, if you're listening. You already know that.
Yeah. He turned me onto it a little bit. There's like
I like a
little
couple
bit.
songs of Led Zeppelin on
Zeppelin
I
there.
like all the shit they stole. I like the
Yeah.
original
Overall,
stuff they stole.
I'm not a big fan. But anyways, I still have her record. She passed away, and I hold on to those. For, obviously, sentimental value. But, I mean, the Monkees and the Beatles were one thing. And then when I heard, like, Sabbath and Deep Purple, I was just like, mind blown.
The guy was like,
And being a little kid and you're looking at and listening to Black Sabbath and you're growing up Catholic and you're going to Catholic school and that was scary shit.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath, like you look at it now, you're like, whatever, it's just a rock band. But as a little kid, it really freaked me out, and I was like, man, I'm on to something. I'm into this. So I wasn't much into radio as a kid, except for maybe like whatever happened to just be on, if I was in a car or something.
Yeah.
But records, once I got a hold of those records,
Yeah.
then I was stuck. And then Kiss was the first band I discovered on my own at a pretty young age. I was probably 6, 7 in the late 70s around that time. And, they were huge. They were marketing them
Yeah.
to
Oh,
towards
yeah.
lunch
Oh, yeah.
boxes
Toys.
and toys and makeup kits and stuff. So it was directed towards children.
Halloween costumes.
And funny enough, at the same time, Star Wars came out.
Yeah.
And, man, that blew my mind too. I was really into fucking Star Wars. My dad took me to see the first Star Wars movie in 1977 in the theater, like opening night. I didn't really know what it was. But for some reason, he knew I'd be into it. Maybe he probably just wanted to see it and use me as an excuse. He took me, and Darth Vader scared the shit out of me. That opening scene of that movie, where like they're taking over the rebel ship, and they bust through the door, and the stormtroopers are shooting, and he comes through the cloud of smoke. Frightening. You watch it now, you're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're a little kid, that was frightening. I got nightmares. And my cool sister Lori actually bought me a Darth Vader action figure, and that blew my mind. But anyways, I didn't compare. I thought Kiss and Star Wars were like one and the same.
I can see
Because,
that,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I wasn't even sure Kiss
Yeah.
played music. And Ace Frehley was kind of like the space guy. So I was getting little bits and information and detail. So I was like, oh, maybe they're part of like Star Wars. And I thought like maybe Gene Simmons was like a bad guy like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And because they had
I
toys.
never made that connection.
No, it's really weird. I know.
Yeah.
But it's like, so I was really into Star Wars and Kiss. And then I think I started seeing Kiss records. I was like, huh? And then, like, of course, like, my brother and my sister were like, you don't want to get involved with that shit. I was buying the cards, the trading cards. My brother would make fun of me.
Oh, the Kiss cards?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember buying
And I
those
was like, what do you
at
mean? And then, like, some
Marisini's.
older kids had records. I was like, they play music? And even at that young age, I was like, the music doesn't match the image.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know what sex and blowjobs and
Did you
women
get
and
your
stuff
card?
were.
Where'd you get your card?
Speedy Mart across from your parents'
Speedy
house.
Mart? Really?
Yeah,
remember-
Speedy Mart
I
across
remember
from the street from your parents.
They sold them there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my grandfather. That was what we bought. Yeah, I don't know where. I think we might have been at Marisini's at McKeesport in White Oak there, and they had the cards there. And I remember I bought them. I think it was the same thing. I didn't even hear them. I don't even think I heard them. I just remember the one picture or the one card I got. It was a picture of Gene with it. It's like the microphone's in front of his mouth. There's just blood
Yeah.
everywhere. And I just remember I kept staring at my grandfather. I was like, oh my God, he's my Italian grandfather. I was just like, oh my God, he sees this. I was all, so I just kept looking at it. He's driving. And I'm just like, oh my God. And
Yeah, it blew a young boy's
Yeah,
mind. It was everything a little
yeah.
boy wanted. You didn't know what girls were. You weren't attracted to girls. You didn't know what
Yeah,
sex was
yeah.
like. You were attracted to just like that weird fucking macho bullshit that was Kiss. You
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
why.
yeah.
You didn't know what it meant. You didn't know what
Yeah.
sex was. You didn't know what they're singing these like lyrics about sex. And you're like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
You just like the image because they look like Star Wars monsters, and they spit blood, and you thought that was
Then
cool
there's
because
that
you went to
fan-
Catholic school and you were taught all that was evil and you
yeah,
wanted to rebel.
I wish I would have.
You know what I mean?
That
It all
shit,
makes
man.
sense.
Like the shit used to get in school, like, like these are satanic symbols and blah blah blah,
Like
and like shit.
satanic panic stuff.
We had
Yeah,
that when I was in
yeah.
6th grade and went to Catholic school. We had a guy come in and do that. Catholic school was probably the best thing ever happened to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I had to go to catechism. That was bullshit. That was like Saturday shot to hell because you gotta go to you gotta go to catechism. I remember just like I don't know.
And Catholic school really,
But again, that kind of shit turned me on to more music. There was that show, The
Yeah.
Eagle's Nest. It was all.
Yep.
It was on Channel 40, which is Cornerstone Television. It was like the motherfuckers out in fucking North for Sales. Just they have their television.
Local Christian
evangelist. Yeah, but
evangelist
they had this
television
show that The Eagle's
channel.
Nest, and it was a syndicated show. And it was this guy. I remember he looked like he was in REO Speedwagon or something.
Pastor
he had
Gary.
Yeah, he had this feathered fro type of thing going.
Little
He always had
mustache.
these nice shirts. And you can tell he was infatuated. I mean, I remember that's how I heard of the Plasmatics and Wendy O. It was because he had that huge backdrop, and it was that fucking picture of it was the album cover. Wendy O just all fucking posed out on it, and just being seeing that and being what the fuck is that? All that. What else? There was
It was that whole satanic panic. He had an episode called called Rock. It was all about punk rock.
the punk called
And
rock.
he had the heavy metal, the regular rock. He had one against trick-or-treating and Halloween. He had one about
the Smurfs being a gay tribe.
Smurfs.
And they're all gay because there was one female amongst them, and they couldn't. It was just
Rainbow
Rainbow Bright.
Yeah, and he
was
kind of
fucking evil.
maybe Masters of the Universe. I don't know if he touched that. Any kind of toy or music or anything that kids would have liked. Any cool kid would have liked back then.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't
It was
like.
just I was whoa, that whole.
They had a trick or treat one. That's when it really blew my mind. I was like,
Wait,
because when I started
you
watching
heard
them.
about bands from this guy
Oh
trying to
yeah,
get
oh
people to
yeah,
not
yeah.
do
That's
it?
how I
I
heard
first
of
got
the
into them
Plas-
in the mid '80s when I was getting into punk and hardcore and thrash metal and skateboards and that kind of stuff. And it was it was like a guide. It was like an aid. It was thank you, turn me on to stuff.
Yeah.
And me and my
It's so
friends
great.
at the
It's
time
we'd be
completely
laughing at it.
would
me and
watch
my
it
brother.
and laugh. Look, the punk episode, you can find it
Talking
on
about
YouTube.
it on the school bus and shit.
You can find it on YouTube. He talks about
I'll have to look that up.
Dead Kennedys. He shows the Dead Kennedys and God We Trust album cover, obviously. And he talks about, he sends a correspondent to a punk show. I believe it's a TSOL show or something. And he interviews punk kids at the show. And he interviews this group of women, 4 or 5 of them. And it's funny. It's LA, and they're very LA. And of course they're kind of hamming it up for the camera. They know what's going on. And they got that accent in California, and they're going on. My mom hates me. I party, and and it's to us, it's hilarious. It's hysterical because it's probably the same thing we would do or would have done if we were interviewed in that situation. But obviously, to them, to him, and white parents, middle America, suburban middle class parents watching it, and these Christian people, it scared the living shit out of them. They're like, look at that poor girl. Look at her hair. Look what she's saying. She's on drugs. She has sex. Oh, And they were just playing a part, And it's great. But I remember watching.
Oh yeah, they gave them what they wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
The punk girls gave them what they wanted.
He talks about one time. He talks about going to a Circle Jerk show, and talked about getting spit on, and he's like,
I remember
the punks
that. Oh my
spit
God,
on you, and they spit on the band, and the band
yeah.
spits on the audience because that's like a sign. It's a positive sign to them. That's like you're doing something right.
Yeah,
They
it was
it.
he's just
And he's talking
everything
about-
that he talked about was great.
Yeah.
Until he got to and this is the work of Satan. Satan
Right.
is deceiving all these young children. Just it's just so.
He's
fucked up.
pretty good at punk, and then
He
like
knew
throwing,
his shit.
he's
He
doing
knew
like
his
that
shit.
oddball thing. He'd be talking about Circle Jerks and Plasmatics and Dead Kennedys and whatever, and then he'd throw in Talking Heads. And you're like, Talking Heads,
Yeah.
whatever, they're fine, but I'm like,
Yeah.
they really that threatening and scary? And he
And
threw in
listened to all this
AC/DC.
stuff.
He
This
threw
guy
in
was just
AC/DC.
you listen to this
Yeah.
shit over and over.
AC/DC.
Well, he threw
sits
him in
there
on
and he
the,
picks the fucking their lyrics apart. Cause
Highway
he,
to
And he shows the album cover on the screen.
Yeah,
You can
like
YouTube
Highway
it,
to
man.
Hell. I remember them showing Highway.
Well,
to
he talks
Hell
about
and-
AC/DC in the punk episode. He's well versed. I mean, he addresses. He's like, well, they're not a punk band, but he just, as a side note, he talks about them. He talks about Highway to Hell, and the lyrics being, my friends are gonna be there too.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, these young kids, Satan tricks them into thinking that if they party all the time, that when they die, don't worry, 'cause they're gonna go to hell. But hell's gonna be a great party, and all their friends are gonna be there, and they're gonna be partying. So these kids commit suicide because they want to get to hell faster because they know it's gonna be this incredible party, and you watch it and you just hope it's bullshit. You hope he doesn't really believe this, and it's just his way of like making money or whatever. But at the same time, you're like, fuck, he might actually believe this. This is incredible. And being I was like, whatever, 14, 15 watching that shit. And I thought it was great, But like, I could see even at that age, I could see like I said before, like normal, regular, scared parents watching that and just being terrified. And like, going straight to church or their pastor or their priest or their reverend or whatever. And just, help, my son, my daughter's into this. What do I do? And I mean, I envision all these exorcisms happening across the suburbs, the white suburbs of America,
Being sent to weird Bible camp.
Yeah, because the kid has Black Flag flyers on his wall or
Pray
a
the
fucking
punk
Twisted
away.
Sister poster or some shit. And,
Yeah, but it was like, seriously, it was like seeing like, the album cover of like, what the hell Plasmatics record was.
I believe it was the Wendigo Plasmatics Metal Priestess with the
Yeah,
pentagram.
yeah, that's what it
was. The white mohawk.
Right, and I remember just seeing that, being like, my God, I gotta find out what the I've gotta find out what this is.
Yeah, if you had internet back then, right?
Yeah.
Wendy O. Williams.
And those weren't like records that you found like in like Green Gate Mall or Westmoreland Mall. You didn't find Plasmatic records, man. Not until like, Camelot went under.
He was probably based out of L.A. and he
yeah,
obviously had people working for him and went out and researched his shit. Like I said, he'd go to the shows. He'd go to punk shows and interview kids and stuff. It was funny.
Were you first able to find punk records then?
Ides. I still tell people this. Being a record collector, Ides was one of the greatest record stores ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, so much that like I got a lot of cool shit there, but at the time I didn't really realize what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, if there was some weird way I can go back in time or something like that, I would have bought so much more. I mean, granted, I didn't have money then either. But you know what I mean? It was just kind of like something you took for granted. You're like, oh, I'm getting into music. You bought stuff or whatever. And, but you obviously didn't know then that 30 years later, you'd still be into this music and it became collectible.
Yeah.
These records that went for $4 then are now worth $400. You know, that you collect records for the monetary value, the money value or anything, but it's like, it's just weird, to think about it. But I remember going to Ides, me and some junior high friends. They were a little older. Dave Fresh, somebody that Corey knows. He had the cool dad who was like a truck driver, and he was never home, and Dave was the only kid. So when he was home on weekends, he took Dave and us, his friends, around and stuff like that. And, without being a dick, spoiled him a little bit because maybe there's kind of weird guilt that he was never around. And he'd take us to Ides, and at the time, Ides had 3 locations. They started on the North Shore, long time ago before my time, on Federal Street, where PNC Park now sits, the baseball stadium. And obviously, they tore down that whole block. But there was just your typical city, 3-story storefront kind of buildings. And they were over there. And then they moved to Penn Avenue downtown, like 940 Penn Avenue or something like that, which is now Bakerfield Tacos. I'm plugging them. But where that Bakerfield restaurant sits, that used to be the second Ides. And then the third is their current location. They moved there probably around 1990-ish or so. And went downhill since, unfortunately. But that second Ides on Penn Avenue was my, that was my fucking church, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I started going and just buying up shit and
Who would have worked there that would know to order that stuff?
Oh, it was all, well, Greg Ide, hence the name Ides, is the guy who ran it, and I don't know how knowledgeable he was with anything. I think they maybe comic books, because they do have comic books. They may start as a comic book magazine bookstore or something and start getting in records, which is common. That happens a lot. And I don't know. I mean, he just started hiring the right people. Like when I first started going there, like all the cool scene people worked there. Like Jeff Lamb from Half-Life worked there. And he was kind of like the dude, you know what I mean? He was the singer of the biggest band, and he looked cool and was intimidating.
One of them became a cop.
Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Him, Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he was just nice. He was, you know what I mean?
He would actually like talk to you, and he
Yeah.
was nice, very
Yeah.
friendly, soft spoken.
He'd like comment on like whatever record
Yeah.
I'd buy.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. You know.
But they hired like, I mean, some of the people that still work there in the comic book section have probably been there since the beginning. I mean, these are like 50, 60-year-old men, you know. I never got into comics, so I don't know. But when I got into it, yeah, it was just a lot of like who would have been like the cool older scenesters at the time, people that were in the cool bands that you were like going to see and you're totally afraid of and intimidated and blown away, like Half-Life and such, you know. But it was a revolving door. I mean, so many people worked there. I think
Todd, Robbie,
Todd
Porter.
Porter worked there, Rob Tabachka. They were in a band eventually called Eviction around 87, 88 they started. Ted Williams was there at some point. He was in a band called Dream Death and an Eviction. Jesus, who else? I want to say Brian Corley worked there at one point. A lot of people. It was a revolving
Did BC
door.
work there?
I don't know if he did or not. I don't think so. I don't think Lavella ever did. Lavella was more of a Phantom of the Attic guy. I think he worked for Phantom of the Attic, which was
right.
comics.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know if they ever.
You know
dealt
what other
with-
record store there was too that I never thought? There was a record store that it was a video store. It heads together, Squirrel Hill. I never fucking thought to go there to buy records. You know, it was just like
And there was that place right up Craig, Record Graveyard. Remember that?
yeah, I never went in there.
It's kind of like,
never went in there.
I'm assuming the building's still there. Jesus.
Yeah, it's your
It's kind of like
it's
by.
your All India buffet.
Oh no, it was right up from that, right next door to that. All India Buffet. It was next to the beer distributor and Chiefs, and then Record Graveyard kind of sat up a little bit because I remember.
Oh, yeah,
I remember
right.
All India was a Domino's Pizza at one time. I don't know how long ago that was or what it was before, but yeah, Ives was the place to go for sure, and. My friend Dave's dad would take us like every Saturday, every other Saturday, and you'd have like $10, which is like a lot of money back then. But
Yeah,
shit was so
that went
cheap.
far. That was a
Yeah,
t-shirt.
10,
That was a t-shirt and a record.
If you somehow
Yeah,
had
10
$20,
t-shirt
which would be like
and
a teenager having like, I don't know, $100 or $200 these days, I'm an old man here. But you got like, I mean, a 7-inch was $1.75, $2. An LP was $4, $5, $6, $7. A T-shirt was $5 or $6.
Dude, a Venom
Pins
shirt,
and stickers
a fucking
were
Venom
75 cents.
shirt, a Venom shirt and a fucking used copy of fucking Technocracy was $10.
Yeah.
You know.
They had great prices.
Yeah.
All the records were
It was a
like
used record and
were
a
$2,
fucking-
$3.
Yeah. You know.
And
Like a fucking Venom shirt for $5. You know?
yeah,
It's-
it was a really
It
cool
was
place
cool.
to go. It was like
They also had
Mecca.
videos. They had
magazines,
toys.
Jeff got all the Japanese toys there.
But
They
once
started
he
selling.
left, that's when.
That's when it started going downhill. To be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
Would you see flyers there? Is that
flyers.
Flyers,
They had a
yeah.
flyer rack and they had them stuck on the wall or stuck around the building outside.
Yeah. This downtown was a little more like that part of downtown, like what it looked like every fucking downtown, whatever. It was all run down during the 80s.
That
and
part
shit
of
like
downtown
that.
was pretty
It was pretty
shady.
Yeah.
Penn and Liberty, especially Liberty was like kind of your what's the word? I don't know, like the part of the city, the gritty part. It had like the porno theaters and the prostitutes and the video booths and stuff. That was Liberty Avenue. Probably they kind of whatever had a second or third Renaissance or whatever, made it the cultural district now. Maybe that started in the 90s. The coolest thing we did, I always tell this story, people when you talk about like getting into music and records and stuff. And it's like the mid 80s and late 80s. So say there was 4 of us and we all had our little bit of money. Every kid would buy a record, an album or 7-inch or 2 or whatever. And then every kid would also buy a blank cassette, a Memorex tape or whatever. And then we'd go back to Dave's house. His dad would drop us off at his mom and dad's house. And we go in his room, and we all take turns listening to the record that we bought. Okay, you put yours on. Listen to that. You put yours. And once you got through all 4, 5, 6, 7 records, whatever it was, you're like, oh, I like that. Who is that? That was cool. Play that again. Here's my tape. Tape it. And whatever you liked, you taped. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you got your record you bought, and then your tape that may have had 3, 4, 5, 6 more records recorded on it. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I mean? So you were discovering so much music that way. Yeah. So you only spent 90s. X amount of money. You got the one physical vinyl record, and then you got a cassette tape filled with shit, you know, with other stuff.
That's how you took it your with friends, you, man. Everyone had a fucking...
And then you listen out on the boombox and the Walkman and stuff, and that's how you discovered shit. You know, nowadays...
Fucking hated Walkmans.
You're such a... You know, being a record collector, you would buy all those records. Fuck the tape. You know, I want to buy all 4 of those. But back then, being a kid, discovering it,
barely got enough money.
Don't have any money.
Oh, yeah.
Not really that fanatical about collecting. You just want the music.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think of that. And cassettes were kind of cooler than records at the time anyways. You know, everybody
carry them around and listen to them.
Everybody had... I mean, I still have milk crates full of
Memorex
tapes.
That's what I should have done.
That are in my attic that I dug out of my parents' attic, you know. And it's like, geez, looking through them, they're all handwritten.
That's what I should have done. I should have brought a box of tapes over. Just a random box of tapes because they're like... had them for 20 years and just be like, this is, you know, this is what this is, and like, I don't know what this is because it's not fucking labeled, you know. It's
unfortunately just, I missed out on a lot of stuff that way. Like a lot of the original demo tapes of Pittsburgh bands back then. I didn't buy the tapes; people taped them for me.
Yeah.
Someone would buy the Half-Life demo, the Eviction demo, the Dream Death demo, the Doomwatch demo, the Shape of Rage demo, the Battered Citizens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I traded. Oh
yeah. See, I don't even own that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because like a friend of mine owned it and would tape it for me, and I was fine with it. And now 30 plus years later, I'm like, I want that.
The drawings in it are so good.
Yeah.
It's all Jeff's artwork.
Yeah, you can tell that is.
Yeah. All that is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well.
I don't know if he did
I haven't
that,
seen this.
but that's definitely, he did the cartoony stuff. Jeff's art was
parents.
cool. He does like toys now. He does like Japanese.
Which Jeff?
Jeff Land, the singer of Half-Life. He does his own toy company, I guess you'd call it, where he actually makes vinyl Japanese toys. Like he makes his own characters, like Ultraman, Godzilla type stuff.
Yeah.
He does his own characters. They're a little bit more like silly. Sorry if you're listening, but you know the characters, they're not like these serious, scary Godzilla monsters. They're more just like fun. I think he calls them Grease Bat and stuff, and they're kind of like these. They're really cool. I don't know. Google them, look them up. They're really cool. And he makes toys, and I always wanted some of his toys, but man, they're expensive and they go fast. They're really limited. And they're hundreds of dollars, and they're sold out right away. And he's a hell of an artist.
Yeah.
And
he's another one. Like
great
his artwork.
Humble beginnings, huh?
Yeah, I was a fan of his artwork. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like his belt buckle that I mean, you know, I mean that's the Half-Life skull. Yeah. I learned how to draw because you know what I mean, like his artwork, like this. Yeah. I mean that's what this is right there. Mm-hmm. That's what that
it really is. Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what I took it from, and it's
he went to Art Institute. He's from Ohio, somewhere like Akron, Cleveland, or something, and moved here in the early '80s to go to Art Institute.
Yeah. Yeah, again, artwork. It keeps that turns up, man. It's just like when I liked the band's artwork, it made me want to listen to them. Yeah. It's just like whenever records start looking the same, it means they start sounding the same.
Yeah,
and that's why. I don't know. I know it sounds like. I only listen to a handful of things in general. You know, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well, artwork's definitely a big part of it. Like. Going back to being a kid again, pre-internet, that's what you had to rely on.
Yeah.
It was very instinctive. It was your instincts, you know. You had to, like, go and look at a actual record or tape at the store, or look at the band's T-shirt, or whatever, and go from there. Because obviously you can't.
Yeah, then you start.
There wasn't a listening station.
Then you start hearing bands that you haven't seen a record from, or a T-shirt of, or like you don't even know where the fuck they're from. You know, and it's just
you couldn't like
because you heard it on some Memorex tape. You know, it's just like
you went to the store, looked at the record, and you're like, oh man, this is cool. There's this cool artwork with whatever going on in the artwork, skulls and death and anger and mohawks and bombs and cops and whatever it may be, and you're like, I have an idea what this could sound like. Sometimes you were deceived, like Kiss. When I was a kid and I first heard Kiss, I was like, this doesn't match up. But, mostly it did. And because you didn't, well, let me check them out on my phone. Let me look up, hear a song in MP3. Let me YouTube
Sometimes you just had to take a chance.
You just had to take a chance.
I got burned a few times. I remember
course.
when Camelot Records closed down up at Westmoreland Mall. Remember they sold all that vinyl for fucking cheap.
Yeah, they're
had
Century
20
Free.
bucks. I had
all
20
that,
bucks. I got GBH. I got City Babies, Revenge.
Not the greatest artwork.
What's that?
Not the greatest artwork.
I like, but no, it was just, I knew it was just like, it was the only GBH record that they had a couple there, and I was like, I'd pick that one, probably because of the artwork, to tell you the truth. One of the other records I got was that band, remember that band, Running Wild?
Metal band.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It was
metal
like,
bands were good
because
at
they were
deception, the deceiving artwork.
Again, artwork. You know what it was? It was like in those ads, you can get those T-shirts, and it had like that one tour, like International Noise, prepare for the Blitz, and it is like Voivod. Was it Voivod?
Which lived up to their artwork.
It was Voivod, Running Wild, and Celtic Frost, and Running Wild. That was the tour. And it was like the Running Wild. It was like this like fucking bat's head with a fucking pentagram above it. I went and bought the only record they had. They're like, I better buy this. It was it was like some Jolly Roger bullshit. Fuck it. I mean, it was bad. The artwork was, I don't know why. I was just like, I better buy this. I'll never see this again. And boy, and I bought it just because of artwork. And it was like, and I said,
metal was definitely like that. You got a lot of metal records, and you're like, look at this, they worship the devil. There's death and skulls and naked women, and then you play it at home, you're like, ugh.
Motherfucker tries to tell me that fucking Running Wild's a good fucking band, It's like,
I'm sure
fuck
people
you,
will tell
man,
Well, then the cool thing was you got a band like this. Perfect example. We're looking at this insert to this Half-Life tape, right? And there's pictures of them. And Rick is wearing a Cause for Alarm shirt. Jeff has a Gnostic Front. Volpe has Husker Du. So if you were to buy this and you're looking at it and you're like, this is great, you're playing it, you're reading every lyric, looking at everything, you would see their T-shirts. Like, okay, well, next time I see a record or tape with these band names on it, I'll buy that. And, it was like little suggestions,
It's like Metallica wearing fucking Misfits shirts. That's how
I still swear the Misfits would not be as big as they are today, selling out fucking stadiums or arenas if it wasn't for fucking Metallica.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one would have known who the fuck they were.
Absolutely.
It wasn't for Metallica wearing their shirts, tattooing them on their arm.
Artwork. It was just like,
the artwork.
I gotta find out what the fuck. I gotta find out what Samhain is here. Just the Misfits.
I remember seeing the Misfits skull as a kid and being like, what is this?
Yeah, man.
You almost thought it was a Metallica skull.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people did that. Saw the Misfits Crimson Ghost and thought it was a Metallica logo or image or whatever.
Yeah.
Because those motherfuckers wore it constantly. I mean, Cliff Burton had it tattooed,
Yeah.
That was, I don't know.
Yeah, again, artwork, man.
Artwork, and this shit, man. That's why I still collect records and stuff, because I want this. Because I don't want a fucking MP3. I want the insert because I want to read the lyrics. I want to look at the artwork. I want
this just doesn't pop up though.
No, I mean, with records. I mean, if you buy someone's record, John puts out a record tomorrow. He's gonna have an insert, and then you read it and you physically. And that's how you learn.
Even this picture of Pittsburgh on here is different. That's not the city skyline anymore. The skyline has fucking changed since this.
Well, let me see if. What do you call it? It's not even on there, right? Melon. BNY Melon.
Yeah.
That was built in the mid-'80s, right? I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway. That might even be in that
There was that one building. It had Jack Lambert on it. Oh, remember that building? It was that mural. It had like Joe Green. Jack Lambert, Jack Ham. But yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Was this the first Pittsburgh punk band you saw? Anything?
Probably. Safe to say.
The first Pittsburgh punk band I saw. Huh.
I mean, they played every freaking show.
Yeah, it seemed that. Every flyer for every good band that ever came through Pittsburgh.
They were the big band, and Mike Lavella.
He booked a lot of those.
A lot of shows, and he kind of, he did get the ball rolling for hardcore. There was a punk rock scene. This is all before I was just a little kid when this shit was going on, but there was a punk scene.
But he wasn't bringing like Black Flag.
No, Black Flag was so fucking huge that they were probably just onto their own thing by the time he came around.
Yeah.
Because like the Five played with them and stuff. And they played the Decade, I think, with Dez singing.
They played with the Five when they played here?
They played with the Five at the Banana before my time. And I think 82 with Rollins. It may have been that. That's a Sam Matthews. That's who you should interview with that stuff. That's a question for him. Yeah. That's before my time. But, yeah. But Mike would have brought... I think Black Flag at the time in the 80s was already kind of like a big band. You know what I mean? They probably dealt with like proper... I don't know how they book their tours or anything. I'm not going to pretend like I know, but you know what I mean. They're probably like a different league. I think Mike was bringing stuff like probably Necros and Gnostic Front, and, COC and maybe Husker Du's, stuff like that. That was Mike was bringing all that stuff. So naturally, his band opened. So that's why I think Half-Life was on a lot of shows. They did become the local favorite. I mean.
Yeah,
that goes without saying. They were my favorite. They still are my all-time favorite Pittsburgh band. Yeah. My era for them was the Under the Knife era, the Vinny and Damon and Mike. I never saw them on that. That's when I started going to see them, and man, it really blew my mind, because they were like. I didn't really know any of that stuff. Because, obviously when you listen to their stuff, they went through these different phases. Kind of had like that American hardcore phase, and then the 86, 87 era was that dark, dirgy, British, UK, kind of doing that kind of, dare I say, crust, Discharge, Amoebics, Deviated Instinct. In a sense, even though they probably tell you they weren't playing that. They weren't really going for that. You don't even think
they were listening to Deviated. I don't think none of those guys were listening to that.
No, I mean, Vinny maybe. Vince was into some dark shit.
Yeah.
But they were doing that shit before it was cool,
Yeah.
And, I mean, now those are household names, and you see, like... kids wearing those shirts and patches and whatnot.
Half-Life was doing it.
But Half-Life was doing that real just
to see him live doing it.
The song was kind of
like Victory to the Killer. Yeah, that's the first time I saw them. It was just
that was a Deformed song.
That was just that was
that was like okay when you had the Rick and Ron Volpe and they were in Half-Life when they split from Half-Life. They did the Deformed with Murph, and they were a 3-piece band, and then that's when Half-Life went into the lineup of. With Vince and Damon, and the Deformed were doing their own thing, and they were doing songs like that when they rejoined the band in like 88, and Half-Life in 89 put out the Never Give In album. A lot of those songs were Deformed songs.
Yeah.
That Rick and Ron brought.
They were. I mean, that's like.
So like Victory to Killer,
the beginning of Victory
Crawling,
to Killer is like up there with
Ended All.
Like those kind of you're songs. Full of shit, but the beginning of Victory to the Killer is like
it's great.
It's fucking to me. That's like fucking like Cro-Mags. We gotta, you know what I mean?
It was a great
whole opening. That we gotta know. It was just like
they would open their set with
differently,
that.
but it was just heavy.
Yeah.
Fucking what was it?
At the time that like 88, 89, they opened the set.
Two fucking chords. With
the whole like kind of acoustic thing where you want to call it ding 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 ding
or harmonics.
Yeah, and like they would open with that.
Oh man.
And like you had the Banana or whatever packed with people, and everyone's like just kind of
it was just like one of those ones.
Swaying, you weren't like slamming and moshing.
It wasn't violent. It was just
punching
like,
people. You were just like kind of getting caught in like in waves, like you're out in the inner tube in the ocean. You're and as much as you could describe a hardcore show with like, well, I was in the ocean and it would kick in, that song just kind of slowly build up, and Ron Volpe was a fucking killer drummer.
Oh, it's just
one of the best.
Big ass fucking.
And Jeff would like kind of come out on stage and do the Jeff thing with the mic stand, his head down, just swaying, like can't make eye contact with anyone. It was really, being a teenager,
Rick
that
looking
really
like a mess.
Yeah,
he'd just always be like, it'd be like
he looked like he should be.
They'd be on the first song. They'd be on the first song. He'd already be soaked in sweat. Like. Wearing
T-shirt
some like
all stretched
pocket,
out, the collar, the
shitty
t-shirt, scrubby hair. Just looked like it's like they just get some dude off the street play the guitar.
Yeah.
But like being a teenager, that fucked you up. That was like holy shit. You saw a band do it now, you're like that's cool.
Yeah.
But you see it then, and it's all new to you. that was really powerful shit. And they'd kick in that song. The lyrics were pretty fucking dark.
And it was a thing. They were using equipment that like people were trying to find now. You know, it was like old Marshall heads, and Rick had that fucking what the hell that thing that guitar Rick used to play, man.
He played a. I want to say he played a Gibson Les Paul double cutaway.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Well, the Vinny era was the best. That was so fucking loud, man. Because like, they play the Banana, which was like 3 times the size of this room, maybe. I don't know. And he'd have like the full Marshall stack and shit. Yeah. And they were so fucking.
Oh, he had
loud.
that white fucking.
So fucking.
He had that white Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a white Marshall head. I didn't know that until they started doing the reunion show. I never saw Vince play with Half Life.
That's when I first got into it, and and them and Doomwatch.
Yeah.
Doomwatch at that time were fucking. Still, I mean, I don't know. You catch me one day, I'd say Doomwatch was my all-time favorite band from Pittsburgh, and then you catch me another day, I'd say Half Life. They were pretty neck and neck for me at that time, being 14, 15, 16 years old. And all just great people, very nice. Yeah. And, still just really friendly, and it blew me away. And Doomwatch, man, there's a fucking band. That fucking LP, Symphony of Decadence, or whatever.
Yeah, Symphony.
Light years ahead of its time, man. Oh, man, I'd killed being a band that sounded like that album right now. That shit was sick.
I'm glad I got to see him with Poison Idea, because it was like, at that time, it was like,
whammy.
Yeah, it was just like fucking literally 2 tons of steel at 100 miles an hour on
pun
stage.
Intended.
Yeah, it was.
Because there were some physical big people too. Poison Idea and
the guys from Doomwatch are all
Jeff and Gary
big.
were pretty big guys.
And,
Dan and Blair were rails. Skinny.
Yeah.
But Jeff and
but it was just like, but they
Gary
also just had the same fucking sound, and it was like, the common bond was like, I don't know,
kind of metallic, hardcore. Dare say
What year was that,
crossover.
man?
Well, that was the Poison Idea was 90. That was a little later.
But it was like, at that point, Poison Idea, they were touring on what? At that point, I think they were on
Feel the Darkness.
Feel the Darkness.
It was that lineup. Yeah, that was a great one.
And
that's been coming up a lot on social media.
Yeah,
people have been talking about that show
That show
at Upstage, and posting photos and stuff of it.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
That was a good show.
I just remember seeing fucking Jerry. It was just, he had that fucking goddamn pot leaf tattooed on his neck, and he was as big as Pig at the time. Man.
Yeah.
And I see that, like, holy shit,
Well, me and, like, that was another one. I think I went with, like, Dave Fresh and a few other dudes. And we went, and...
I heard Poison Idea maybe once or twice before Steve.
Yeah.
It was just like,
mind-blowing.
Well, it was time for Poison Idea to take the stage, and then as shitty as it sounds, we're all, like, obviously checking out Pig Champion. It's like, man, look at that dude. He's huge, and it's,
sitting on a bar stool.
Yeah, big motherfucker, right? And we go, and he's time to, like, get on stage, and the Upstage was in Oakland on Forbes Avenue. It's at IGA grocery store now. It was a nightclub called Upstage, which was, we could tell 1,000 stories of dumb shit we did there, but they had a proper stage, maybe as high as this, 3 feet, 4 feet, I don't know if I remember correctly, but he approached it, right, and we saw him kind of walk up to it and literally, like, check it out. We're like, how's that fucker gonna get up there? I can't even do what he did. He kind of did this, like, put his ass aside on the stage, and just, like, roll move, and picked him.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't step up on the stage.
Yeah.
He's a very, obviously, everyone knows, a very big guy. And we were all like, almost like...
Yeah.
And then when he played, he may have had like a bar stool under his ass. And
he kind of leaned
on it. He has his guitar. I can't do it because I have a bad ankle, but he cocked his feet in
like
like
he was
this.
standing on the side of his foot.
Like his shoes probably wore on the side. He did this weird balancing. He had that fucking what was that guitar, John? You would know it.
Oh, was it that Gibson that fucking
the Paul Stanley Gibson?
Stanley guitar, yeah.
And he had like the one
just
horn
cut away,
sawed away because I assume it probably was uncomfortable. It dug. You see pictures of him with that guitar.
Just got
it probably like dug into his. And I think like an FU sticker.
Because his guitar came out pretty far, so he probably
he fucking ripped.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he ripped
his sound. Holy shit!
That was a great show.
Yeah. And just I remember they were doing like, what were they doing?
They did mostly the newer, what would have been the newer stuff at the time, like
Yeah, they did
Feel the Darkness stuff and War All the Time. They did some of the old. I don't know if they went back to like Pick Your King or not. I can't really remember, but they definitely did like
I'm sure
a couple
Smack
songs.
Attack. I remember
Yeah, they did like
Smack
Someone
Attack.
has
AA.
a set list, I'm sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
I have
yeah.
a set. I have a set list I posted on Instagram, which was from Philadelphia. I don't have the physical one. I have a photo of it. It was at Philadelphia
Oh yeah, you
from the
just,
same
I saw
tour.
you just. 'Cause I was. Where'd you get that at?
I can't. I don't own it. It's a photograph I found years ago.
Fucking Ryan, you always used to grab.
Yeah, I never thought to grab set lists back then. I wish I would have. But I have a couple. I have like a Dr. No from the Banana, like autographed by the band or something. But anyways, they played like some stuff from Record Collectors and Kings of Punk. But it was mostly more heavy on the Ian MacKaye Spread Ass one and War All the Time and Feel the Darkness and stuff, which is fine. I like that stuff too. They did some covers. They did like the Go-Go's. We got the beat and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Made it Kick Out the Jams by MC5. But I remember Jerry A working the merch table after the show, and I went up to like check out the merch, and they had the Darby Crash Rides Again 7 inches, which is like their early demo from like '82 or something, pressed on 7-inch.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy that. And he actually tried to talk me out of it. He's like, man, you don't want that. That's our old shit. You want our new stuff, blah, blah, blah. And in so many words, I was trying to tell him, like, I don't want your new shit. I want your old stuff.
Oh, really?
Like, no
Really?
offense. I don't really, your new stuff's okay. It's whatever. I want the old shit. I want the demo. You know, I want pre-pick
Oh, he
Pick Your
had
King.
Darby crashed.
Darby,
7 inches.
Yeah, the Darby. I still
know-
have it.
I got mine down.
Yeah.
I got mine down at Isles. I wonder if he still. I don't know.
Probably did. Yeah, I sold it to him. But then
was right
he's like, all right,
around
he
then.
sold it to me, and I had, the punk leather jacket with studs and
Oh.
bands on it, and I had the DRI Skank Slam Dancer logo on my arm, right? And he's like, obviously at the time DRI was kind of like, a lot of people didn't like them because they were kind of going for the gold and selling out and going metal and stuff. And he's like, man, you fuck that band. You should paint over that and put the Poison Idea logo. And I was like, all right. And then like the next day, I did. The next day I went home and I painted over it black and painted the classic Poison Idea, like ransom note, whatever you want to call it, letters, over it. Yeah.
Yeah, you did a nice job with it.
Yeah, I was
That
good at painting logos.
Yeah. You did that with a brush, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You weren't like one of those cheaters that would use the.
I could do
fucking
logos. I
paint
couldn't
marker,
do
yeah.
actual like images and skulls and stuff. But yeah, I did that, and I painted over the DRI because Jerry A told me to. That was 28 years ago.
Wow.
I still got the leather jacket, but I think I even painted over Poison Idea. I think I may have put Crucifix or something in the 90s, in the Oz days.
No, did you?
I think it has Crucifix over it or something.
Uh,
I always painted over logos.
yeah.
You're always into bands, but then like
The jacket lasts a long time.
that's what I mean. And you painted.
Yeah,
Over
they're like
it.
getting tattooed. You like.
Yeah, you can cover
getting-
them up.
Yeah, you can just cover them up and.
Well, I mean, if you're like
Yeah.
a music nerd, you're constantly discovering new bands, or
Yeah.
1 week you're really
Well, I
into
got
this
Viggy's.
band.
I got Viggy's jacket.
Yeah.
His colors, but then I can't remember what he had on it. But I went over.
I
a
did
bunch
Final
of-
Conflict on the
Final
back. It was pretty
Conflict,
badass.
Void.
And Void, which you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, I think I did the Denied on it. And, no, someone Chaos UK was on there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't have to do much into it. I remember I painted up the sleeves. I remember I did Life's Blood down the one arm, and the first, second, third time Ausrotten played up in New York. Remember we got our van broken into, and I threw my jacket on. We were staying in Lower East Side. I think we stayed with George and Steve.
Probably.
That's where it was. Yeah, we stayed with George and Steve, or Yurish. I can't remember.
Yurish.
It was
There's a
Yurish.
bunch of them that lived in that apartment.
It was. It's Yurish and Steve. It was Yurish and Steve. It,
Yeah.
We come out. Well, there was a thing. They lived like up on the fucking like 5th floor of some fucking building. We're like, we got this fucking. Well, I can't remember what kind of cabinet Wes had. He had like a. I can't remember what the hell it was. But either way, we're like, oh, we're not gonna drag our shit all the way up there. So I was
Very
like,
naive.
I'll throw my jacket on
Very
top
dumb.
of it, because it's in the van. Yeah. We're parking, whatever, and like.
Let's park a van in New York City, and very early 90s that has musical equipment on it, but let's hide it with leather jackets.
Yeah.
Nobody would steal that.
Yeah. Well, we come out.
Somebody comes by and looks at that van, looks at the Pennsylvania plates, and this is like, dumbasses.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Not only they're like leather jackets, bags. We had like our personal backpacks with our clothing or whatever, and amps and shit. It's just like, you might as well just like give them the keys and say, just take the van too while you're at it. You know, dumbass, fucking naive young men we were.
We come out the next morning. Of course, the window's broken. the cabinet's still there.
Yeah.
My jacket's gone, and there's a couple.
Our bags were all gone.
Well, no, we took our guitars up in our bag.
Yeah.
The only thing
I lost
the
a
only
bag.
thing I lost was I felt bad. I lost my hat. It was my dad's. But
I lost a Half-Life shirt from the 80s.
oh really?
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Because I for some reason I didn't take my bag. Probably I wasn't planning on changing clothes or taking a shower or anything. I just left my personal bag in the van. Wore the same clothes the next day.
Well, my jacket.
But I had to wear the same clothes the next day and a few other days because I had no clothes left because they were all stolen.
My jacket turned up like it turned up missing, of course, and like 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I get this call from who the hell called me? Was it Steve? Yeah, it was Steve. He's like, Steve, it's Corey, it's Steve. He's like, Roy bought your jacket back. And I'm like, what? The fuck are you talking about? And it's like fucking Roy.
Find out
my orga was.
store or something.
What's that? No, he was sitting there having breakfast somewhere in the Lower East Side. And this dude comes walking in and is like, I'm going to sell this jacket. And Roy saw the lifeblood thing and he's like, he's like, I know that. Or he's just like, that's somebody's jacket, lifeblood on it, So he bought it off the dude for $5 or some shit. Or actually, no, he just took it.
He may have taken it from him.
I think he did. I think he just
because of a punk jacket. And he's like, I must know whose jacket this is.
I remember I had
probably intimidated the guy and took it.
They never went through the pockets. I had like a prescription for Percocets, not Percocets, codeine. Huge difference. I don't know. It was like after one of my knee surgeries, and I knew I was going to be walking, blah blah blah.
Carrying equipment.
Carried it. It's just like and I was really my knees were really fucked up at that point then, and I don't know. I just brought them just in case. I wasn't like, I'm going to party with these, It was like, I'm going to bring these in case I need them for the ride home or some shit. But either way, I got the pills back too, man. They never went in the fucking pockets. It was just like, they never checked the pockets.
That's just something
I think that'd
people.
Be the first thing you would know.
I think people, they would just steal shit, break in and stuff, and then sell it the next day for whatever they can get.
Yeah, they would sell.
You would see like little kind of pop up flea markets on the streets up there. You know what I mean?
We were up there.
You'd see it all the time, and you just walk by and there'd be people with shit laying on the sidewalk trying to sell it for whatever they can get.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I guess in a way it's kind of the thing like, oh fuck, I got robbed the other day or something was stolen, and you went out the other day and combed the streets and there's a chance you might find it.
Yeah.
And you say, hey motherfucker, that's mine. And you either just take it from them or give them like the $2 they want for something that's worth hundreds of dollars or something,
Yeah. Yeah, imagine, like my shit got stolen. Well, I guess I know where to find it at.
I gotta go shopping for my shit.
Shopping for my shit. Yeah. So.
You said that was second or third time you were there?
Pretty early.
Yeah, it was early. Yeah, it was.
Like, maybe like more closer to the mid '90s, or.
No.
That was early.
It was probably 92-ish.
Yeah, 92.
I think we first started going up there like 90, 91. 91 maybe.
91. Yeah.
Yeah,
I graduated. No, it was before I graduated. No, I didn't. It wasn't until after. It was after I graduated high school.
It was a very early lineup of Ausrotten.
Yeah.
So with Jim and playing drums and stuff. So
We
owe a lot to New York.
Yeah.
As cheesy as that may sound.
Yeah.
It's cliche or cheesy or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Pittsburgh had a great scene, and
It seemed like there was always New York bands coming to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there was definitely a connection. Yeah. I think there always was.
There always was. Yeah.
Like a Caustic front in the 80s used to play here what seemed like every other weekend. You could have swore they were local.
They started their tours off here.
Yeah, and they'd end them here. Just tour around the country and play here before they go home and stuff. And at one point, two guys from Pittsburgh went on to play in a Caustic front and played on the Liberty and Justice album. Will and fuck, I can't remember the other dude's name at the top of my head. He was in
Rest in Pieces.
He eventually wanted to be in Rest in Pieces after a Caustic front, but he was in Savage Amused.
Oh yeah.
And maybe Circus of Death.
Yes.
Will was in Circus of Death, I believe.
Will was in Circus of Death. Yeah.
And they went on because Pittsburgh and Half-Life and all that, and Caustic front had such a strong connection.
Yeah.
And then that always is the way it was. And again, then when we started doing our thing in the 90s, we made those connections too with like the Blanks and Casualties and the Denied and 86.
And it wasn't very far removed from.
It was
kinda
only
weird. Yeah,
a couple years later. You know what I mean? It was a weird changing of the guard in the 90s.
Yeah, that's totally what it was.
Safe to say, like 1990, 1991.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Not only was it like the 90s and a new decade, it was really the changing of the guard. It really changed a lot of people from the 80s scenes. How did we meet?
When? Yeah. How and when?
Oh, God.
Our parents lived like a mile from each other, right? Mile.
Yeah,
tops.
mile maybe.
Just met on a fucking school bus or some shit.
Yeah.
Same school. Same high school.
No.
Or junior high.
No.
Baseball team.
We're on the same fucking baseball team. Corey's brother, I'm a couple years older than Corey, and his brother, his older brother's my age. We graduated high school together. So I knew Corey's brother, Brandon, probably before I knew Corey, and then met Corey through Brandon. Still at a young age.
Yeah. Brandon bought his first guitar off of you.
Yeah.
It was a fucking
Harmony Flying V. My dad got for me out of a fucking JCPenney catalog or Sears catalog.
Dude, that thing is probably sound. You plug that thing in now, it'd probably be like, this sounds motherfucking sick, dude.
It sounded like shit then.
Yeah,
but being like a fucking working class kid, first guitar, it was the shit. No, it was actually my second guitar. I had a really shitty Harmony before that. I was taking lessons, and I could prove
Style.
it looked like
Blob
it's
style.
probably some kind of cool guitar. Like guitar nerds would be like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
It looked like some kind of like
Almost like the
copycat.
Japanese
Yeah,
surf
exactly. Of
guitars.
like a
Yeah,
thin
okay.
body Japanese
Oh,
sunburst
yeah.
color.
Uh-huh.
That would have been like some Japanese guitar from the 50s or
Yeah.
60s or something. It is for whatever reason collectible now, and it was garbage. Like literally got it for Christmas in like the early 80s. Ordered out of a fucking JCPenney catalog with a little battery operated amp that was made out of plastic.
Sure, that's
It was probably 5
pretty good.
volts or something with one little speaker, an input, a volume, a tone, a bass maybe. knob. And it had battery. It ran off of fucking like D or C batteries, and it did have a plug, but it was kind of plug that you can had a jack. It wasn't connected all the time. You can in or out, and then had like the big square power pack, that you
Yeah,
plugged in the
like
wall. Like I don't know what would happen.
More like for a toy than what you could
Yeah.
see. Really.
What would have been like the equivalent of a computer,
Oh, yeah.
Battery.
Yeah.
the 1982 version or whatever.
Oh,
Anyway, I'm obviously not, I'm not an electrician here or an electronics major or anything. There's people listening go, that's called a blah, blah, blah asshole. And I'm just like, that thing that makes
That's the
power
transformer
happen.
dickhead.
Electricity happen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my dad was, a fucking lineman electrician. And here I am going, that thing that you plug in the wall and things happen.
Sorry, yeah.
Like I sound like a caveman. But anyway, shitty
magic
equipment.
chords.
And then I think I proved myself that I could play like play Deep Purple or something, the
Yeah,
guitar.
On the wall.
And then my dad, for a couple Christmases later, bought me the white Flying V, which I thought was badass. And then
You had electrical tape
I think I put
on it.
electrical tape on
Yeah,
it.
it
Like
looked like-
stripes looked like Randy Rhoads or Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen.
But it was
or
cool,
whoever
though,
that
because
was.
it worked with it. It
did
was
look
electrical
cool.
tape, and it fucking held on really well. And it also, it was black and white. It was badass.
It was pretty
Still some
badass.
guitar when your brother bought it.
Yeah. And
Nah, I think I took it off.
No.
No?
Oh, me, I can't.
I don't know. But then I sold that to Corey's brother,
Yeah.
and then
Got a
got my next
Westone.
guitar, some shitty like mid '80s.
You got that
Westone.
That was my first guitar.
Which were
Yeah,
like
Westones
your
were like, yeah,
quintessential
that was like-
80s cheap guitar,
Yeah.
heavy metal guitar. I suppose
Mine
that
was
sound.
a Westone Pantera.
Oh, geez.
Oh yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Right on
Glico
the
hat.
body.
Yeah.
It said Pantera with
Yeah.
a little cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible guitars. Probably like
Whammy bar?
$200 at the time.
The
But
whammy.
seemed
Yeah,
like,
they
must have
had
been
like, as soon as you would
$2,000.
hit it, it would be like, it's like,
Whoa.
Go out of
Then it
tune.
would, then it would just stay.
Why slow
String would break if you hit the whammy bar.
McGlicko had one of those.
The whammy bar is literally a piece of metal screwed into a flat piece of metal, and it lifted up and just loosened the strings, and then put them back. It was the most basic technology, and it had this tension that you felt like, man, if I really wanted to push that bar down to the body of the guitar, it would just break. And my dad would whoop my ass. You gotta just break this
It'd be
guitar.
like, don't touch it. Don't like people go, can I play your guitar? Yeah, don't touch the
It's-
whammy bar.
Playing through some shitty solid state crate or something, God.
Crate in an actual crate. Have you seen those?
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
those,
I
yeah.
remember
They had
those.
one at that pawn shop in Wyndham.
Mm.
It was like pushed in
That's
the
right,
back. It was
that's right,
in
yeah.
the crate in
Yeah.
the crate.
Yeah,
It had
that's
a
right.
distortion knob on the back of it. That was like a big, huge knob on the back. That was
Jesus.
like, it wasn't even called distortion. It was called something else. But it was like,
Mm-hmm.
Gain, maybe?
Gain.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
probably
says gain.
gain. Yeah.
Shitty
Crates,
equipment.
yeah.
They started on. Actually, I had shitty equipment pretty much my whole life until just a few years ago.
I still have shitty equipment.
All through Ausrotten, I had shit.
Yeah.
Got that shitty sound out of shit equipment. It apparently worked.
Yeah, I
It
know.
apparently
I think
worked.
a couple people might have liked it.
Yeah.
People liked it. Sold a couple
Maybe
records.
that people didn't like it, but it was just like
A lot of people
those,
sold.
Very 90s.
those are the cards we got dealt, though, man. It wasn't like,
We didn't have fucking money.
yeah, you just didn't. I don't
We didn't
know.
have fucking money.
And you tried to keep. Yeah, it was just. I don't know.
Never
At least
did.
that shit lasted. You think about it, man.
Oh,
How
I mean,
often do you have
beat
to
the
get?
shit out of it?
Yeah, man. You know that's all part of it. Like I break all my shit. Everything I have, I fucking.
Equipment I have now, like
Ever since I've been a
I'd be
kid,
afraid,
I've broken
you know,
everything.
not that I have anything really nice, but I have your basic Marshall JCM 800 from the 80s and a really nice Gibson SG from the 80s. And that's like the best shit I've ever owned.
Yeah.
And I actually worry about it, you know. Yeah. If I was still in a band touring, I'd be like, oh, where's my shit? I'd be concerned.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, touring with Ausrotten and stuff.
You wouldn't be covering it up with a leather jacket.
Yeah, I'd lug that 8 stories, you know.
No, that fucking.
But you didn't care. You
that
beat the shit
Epiphone
out
you
of
had,
it.
yeah, that was always in a gig bag for as
It wasn't a
much
gig
track.
bag. Going to fucking
My
Europe with a gig
Rickenbacker, I always
bag.
had it.
I still have that guitar. It doesn't even work. You plug it in and you go to strum. And it's...
Really? Oh, it's fixable. Whatever.
No, the funny thing is Chachi, Jay Nulf from Submachine, name dropping, worked, oh man, when did he work? Maybe it's like 10, 15 years ago. He didn't work for like, didn't Dave's Music Mind try to do like an instrument store in Oakland?
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
He worked there. And I think I took it to them.
Yeah, I remember
And asked them
that.
to fix it,
Yeah.
and they're like, they're looking at it. Like a day or two later, they like called me, like, we can't really even fix it. Like, basically, it's not worth fixing.
Yeah.
It'd be like taking a
Go get a new guitar.
taking a
Dude,
car.
it'd probably be worth it now.
Yeah,
man.
taking like
Seriously,
a
it'd probably be worth
a
it now.
17-year-old car
Those
to the
guitars-
mechanic that has 120,000
That
miles
Epiphone
on it
sounded
and
good,
stuff
man.
and the engine blows and they're like, do you really want to like replace the engine in this car? You know, and you're like, no.
It was like one of those things.
didn't
just
sound bad,
It sounded great live. It did.
Yeah.
It sounded great live. Recording.
It was a great
like-
guitar. It was very
we just
easy
got
to
terrible
play, very
recordings.
light. Yeah.
We just had
Well, I
terrible
mean,
recordings.
that's the thing with punk, though. A lot of punk records, classic punk records, are terrible recordings, but are amazing. And there's bands these days trying to like copy that, and they can't.
Yeah.
And then bands we're in had terrible recordings. We're like, oh, it's a terrible recording. There's nobody
Yeah.
going, man, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you listen to Chaos UK, fucking Burning Britain EP, and it sounds like a bandsaw playing with a chainsaw, playing with a
Yeah.
blender, and it creates a genre. And then you listen to like the Fuck Nazi Sympathy record, and you're like, was this recorded underwater? Like this is
Yeah.
man. And
No,
that
it
thing
was
sold.
recorded on VHS.
It was
remember?
recorded on VHS tape by
That
some
was
hippie in
recorded on
Greenfield,
fucking VHS.
Greenfield in his
Yeah.
fucking living room. Some hippie,
Some hippie.
some old
fucking
hippie
Greenfield.
in Greenfield in his
How the
fucking
fuck
living
did we
room.
wind up?
That was like the cool cheap dude that like
Oh, he
Say,
did
what
it.
was
He
your
did.
line
He
on
did. He
that?
did the
He
first,
did, like,
second.
Bad Jeans or something.
Anti-flag.
Sean
Oh, he did that
and
Bad Jeans
those
anti-flag
guys.
split.
Yeah.
That's
Because
they
before
were
that
close
was
to them.
Flagrant Underground, and they were over in
RIDC.
RIDC
North side. Yeah.
on North Side, and they did a lot of that '90s, early '90s stuff like Submachine, Necrocedia, stuff. And I think you know what, man, you'd probably remember. Your memory's better than mine. I think we started the Anti-Imperialist 7-inch there.
We did the demo there.
We definitely did the demo. There was something we did there, but then we took it to,
Oh, that's right.
what was the place on the north side that was like the shit for a while, the big recording studio?
Well, where we did the albums.
No, but what were they called before that?
Audiomation.
And we like took the tapes there
From
and they
Flagrant Underground
and
to
finished
Audiomation.
it, or they mixed it there.
Yeah.
It was like a hybrid between Flagrant and Audiomation.
Did we just drop it off?
I can't remember.
I don't even think we were in the room. I think we literally dropped
I
it
can't
off.
remember.
And that's what it ended up coming out to
I
be.
mean, oddly enough, I think the Anti-Imperialist sounds decent for
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
Fuck Nazi
Sounds terrible.
sounds like shit. I love it. I think it's a great record. Whatever. It's obviously sold a lot of people like it. It's what we're known
Bootlegging, you
for.
think?
No, there's so many out there.
No.
I might even have some at home.
Yeah.
You probably
yeah.
have some here, but
Yeah.
no, there's 24,000. You don't need to bootleg that. It's like bootlegging Fleetwood Mac rumors. It's just, they're out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Find them. And they're not. Go on Discogs now. You'll find an Ausrotten Fuck Nazi Sympathy for $1.50 right now. I
Yeah.
guarantee.
Yeah.
Don't pay no more than
Or an-
$1.50.
Or in a dollar cutout at the fucking whatever, some record store at fucking,
That one sounds like shit.
you know.
System Works for them sounded cool.
Yeah.
Everything else after that was that weird digital age, man. When
Yeah.
digital started coming in, and I don't think I think the reissue, the Profane Existence did remastered, definitely sounds a little better. But
Yeah. But it was like there
it was that weird time because
sure
like
people hate
CDs,
it either way.
whatever, who cares?
I mean,
But-
just because it sounds different.
Well, CD, it was the age of CDs, and I never liked CDs.
Yeah.
But you got to admit, like in that age of CD, like if you listen to
It's different.
and that Ausrotten
transferring-
stuff on CD or the master, when the master you had that you sent to the
It's
pressing
on a
plant was a
C-
fucking CD.
CD, yeah.
Those sounded incredible. And then once you got it back on vinyl, we're like, oh, it's
Yeah.
kind of muffled and muddy. And,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
Same thing happened
Probably
with
'cause
Caustic.
people didn't know
Christ.
yet
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
mastered
Caustic got-
differently for
Caustic was the
CD.
same way, man.
The best recording I think that Caustic had was over at Plus Minus when we did the Rambo split.
Mhm. That's the
That was
best
our
one.
best. Who the fuck recorded that? That wasn't Andy.
It was handy.
Were all you said the Ausrotten LPs? Those were recorded in the North Side.
Yeah,
The
those were all.
same place, but it changed names.
Yeah, it was Audiomation. Then it became some bullshit. It was some dude. The dude that owned it was like. He was like some rich kid, but he was a man. He was like a fucking, and he was probably like maybe late 40s, early 50s.
I mean, you can still be a rich kid and be a man. I think we probably know.
No,
a
this
couple.
guy was like a man child. He was like, he was like smoking crack. I don't know. It was just fucked up. I think his parents bought him this business. I don't know. I wish we would have. We always, I think we felt that that's where we always had to go. And we had something special, but we really didn't. And I really wish we would have moved around, recorded in
New York or something.
I think just anywhere. I mean, anywhere outside of Pittsburgh. I hate recording. I fucking hate recording. It means I have to play my shit right every time. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sloppy as a player, but.
I mean, me too. This is the only guy over here that
Yeah.
he's on it.
I fucking hate recording. I hate it.
I like it. I always think that I like it.
Yeah.
And then I do it, and then I hear it, and I'm like, this sucks. Why am I in a band right now?
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I felt. Oh yeah, I still feel. I feel that way every time I record. That's how much I fucking hate it.
But
I hear
hopefully
you,
a couple
man. I
years
hear you.
later, I'll hear it, and I'm like, that not so bad.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
just easy
Yeah.
to be in that moment. Just
It's easy to be overcritical.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Catholic guilt.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just get every
yeah,
single thing
yeah,
you do is
yeah.
like not good enough.
Yeah.
My problem is,
You
like,
have feelings, push them down.
I wish I knew how to record music.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been recording music since I was a kid, 30-some years. Or been in bands that recorded. I've taken away some shit from it. Some basic stuff, but I don't know. I think if I knew how to do it and I can actually sit there and turn knobs and get sounds, I'd enjoy it more. Because I can never interpret, like, what I want to hear to the person.
Everybody hears something
And
different.
you hear something different,
you
and
know?
then you're batting heads with the other band members or whatever.
Yeah, that's the other thing I hate
stuff.
about it. It's like I hate arguing over how it's supposed to go.
I enjoy it. I like the process.
It's like
of it,
maybe
but
I'm just deaf. You know.
I think I just.
Everybody has their own ideas
Yeah.
about
I get
how-
overcritical.
what they think it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
What was the first band you even recorded with then?
When I was in junior high and high school, I was in a band called Sinister.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I had a comp
yeah,
that you guys were on. It was like some Mexican death metal.
yeah,
comp.
yeah.
Oh really?
And he showed it to me. I don't remember it. We
In hindsight,
God,
I
we.
should have just gave that to you, but I sold it to someone that like
I don't have. I think I
collector
don't have
who wanted.
any.
You don't have any Sinister stuff?
I have one demo tape, proper,
Yeah.
like that half-life photocopy demo.
I think I got the first. Yeah, I guess.
The early stuff was pretty rough. We were pretty young. God, I mean,
that was good for what it was.
I mean, no lie, we were like 14-year-old kids,
Yeah.
14, 15-year-old kids, and it was kind of like thrash metal, wannabe stuff, and then quickly
There's
that
something on YouTube, right? Is there
Yeah.
a live clip? I think
there
there's
is.
Justin
Maybe
Gizzy.
not, I don't remember.
There's a guy named Justin Gizzy who plays in a lot of local like metal bands and stuff. Corey and I grew up with him. Okay,
Is he
maybe
from the
Corey's
same
age.
area?
Yeah, I think
yeah,
Corey
we're-
might graduate with him.
I graduated.
A lot of people from that area, but he put some stuff on YouTube of our one demo called Crisis, and it was from '89. It's good. It's I guess for what it is, you know, teenage kids playing very dated at the time crossover.
Yeah.
It's very at the time, you know, like we were saying earlier about like bands like Half-Life and Doomwatch and such. Very crossover, metal, hardcore, you know. You had a couple guys in the band with long hair, a couple guys with shaved heads. I had a mohawk, you know.
Were you
We all
doing anything at the time?
skateboarded.
Just
I
before-
did. No. Well, I didn't start playing in bands. And wait, when did Sinister? You started with 86?
We probably started 86, broke up 89, 90. My high school
Nine.
years.
I
Pretty much
started
all my high school years were that band. You did
Summer of 80s.
Disoriented.
Oh yeah. That
You were in a
was-
band called Disoriented.
Bro, that
Had a
fucking,
demo tape. It was cool. I don't remember it, but I remember.
Oh,
it being
that
cool.
sucked.
That would have been like 88, 9, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then that band became Code Red,
Code Red. Yeah.
which I think I found a demo tape and I gave to you. And,
Did you? No,
it was a red photocopy, Kinko's, red and black.
Yeah, I made
Code
those.
Red and military stencil.
Yeah.
Probably a photo of a
It's a
cop
cop
beating up a punk.
That's exactly
you
it.
know. And
Demo 101.
and I would just put a
Yeah,
nuclear mushroom cloud in the
Yeah,
background and an
yeah.
anarchy
That
symbol.
wasn't on the insert.
No.
Actually, that was on the insert. Was the
No
fucking
way.
smiley faces?
You
Fucking
had
John
smiley
Roman. John
faces.
Roman did the inside of it.
John Roman did
John
do
Was
this.
he in that band?
No,
No,
it was
no.
just friend at the time. My high school band fizzled out probably around 90. I think I played with some other friends at the time trying to start something. Nothing happened. I started Ausrotten in 91 with the original members. This guy named Aaron who lived here in Pittsburgh, and then a drummer and bassist lived out in Greensburg. The drummer was Jim, and the bassist was a woman named Wiggy. Her punk name was Wiggy. Her real name's Michelle. She played bass. So I got to talking to them at a show at the Upstage. Oh, we're starting a band. You play guitar, da-da-da. And I was like, whoa, like these cool people want me to play with them. You know, they're like, Aaron's my age, I think, but Jim and Wiggy were like a year or 2, 3 older than me, and they were cool and hung out with Half-Life. And I was like, whoa. So started Ausrotten with them, and Corey was in Code Red. I even sang for Code Red for a minute.
That's right.
Did a couple shows because Greg, your singer, couldn't do the shows or something.
Oh,
So I
God.
filled in. That was like the first time I sang.
Was it down in Charleroi, maybe?
Maybe Charleroi or Butler or something weird.
Oh, maybe it was Butler. Yeah.
Butler had a cool scene back then.
It was Butler. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Butler. It was that VFW hall or not.
What was that band? Snapper. There's
Yeah.
a band called Snapper from up there, and then and Jay Chachi was from up there. My band played his birthday party in his
house,
in
or
his
like
parents'
a hall?
his parents' living room,
Oh,
which
man.
was
I didn't go
maybe
to
his
that.
entire house was the
Which
size
band?
of this. That was Sinister.
Sinister.
It was probably like 89-ish or so.
I
It was
totally
Jay's
forgot you guys
birthday, maybe
did
like
that.
his
Yeah,
18th or some big deal. And I've known him forever, man. I love Jay.
Yeah, yeah.
Known him forever.
Yeah.
Every time we talk
Best dude.
and have a couple of beers, we just start laughing.
Yeah.
How long have we known each other?
Yeah.
As long
That's
as I've
cr-
been alive.
But we
That's
drove
crazy.
up to Butler and played in his parents' living room, moved a couch and shit. And he lived in a very small house. Literally, like, the entire
the size
house.
of the record store.
Safe to say.
Yeah.
Like, he grew up like we did, just in a small working class house. Da, da, da. And there's video of it somewhere. Somebody had a big old camcorder. And
VHS shoulder
yeah,
cam.
yeah, walking
yeah,
around.
with a fucking flashlight on
Big,
top
yeah, the
of it.
microphone,
Yeah.
a big foam covered microphone sticking out of it, real phallic.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But where was I? Oh, then Ausrotten. Wiggy only lasted a short period of time. She maybe played a couple of our first shows and quit. And Corey hung out with us, came to our practices and
And I was a
partied.
fan. I was a
A
fan.
fan, whatever. And he filled in for on bass, which
They were
you know how
stuck
that
with-
goes.
Yeah.
Somebody fills in, next thing you know they're in.
Yeah.
So Corey was in.
Story as
They
old
let
as the
me
dawn of
in.
punk.
They let me in.
And Corey was on the demo tape and everything, and was always the bass player from there on. We went through multiple lineup changes. I even sang for Ausrotten, put down the guitar and just sang
Yeah.
for a minute. Me, Corey on bass.
Guitar then.
This guy called like I'm in England. This guy named Wes Harris, who played second guitar with me shortly when the singer Aaron quit and moved to New York City. And then I put down the guitar, sang. Corey played bass, Jim played drums, Wes played guitar. Wes was a little older than us. He was in Eviction and Necrocedia. He was in Eviction in the 80s, and then Necrocedia, well, maybe all of Necrocedia. Obviously. He was a guitarist in
I've never
Necrocedia.
heard that. Never heard Necrocedia.
Oh really? Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Unfortunately, their records probably don't.
That's
come
yeah.
through
That's
here.
gonna say it's too bad
They're good.
those records don't
The
pop.
LP is great.
Yeah.
The LP is incredible.
There was a bunch of
Huge
those LPs floating
Influence. Yeah.
around. I wore mine out. I wore my Necrocedia record.
Yeah,
from Blue
Necrocedia
Vinyl.
and Submachine.
Fucking wore it out.
Necrocedia was actually originally from Altoona State College area, and they started in the mid '80s and eventually moved to Pittsburgh in the later '80s, early '90s, and like we were saying earlier, that weird transition between the '80s and the '90s. Half-Life was gone. A lot of bands were gone. And then Submachine started in like 90. And them and Necrocedia were kind of like carrying the torch, playing shows. They became the big popular bands and really helped Ausrotten.
Yeah. Then they turned into Bad Jeans.
Yeah, gave us shows and we'd play all those early shows with them.
For us.
Yeah, but Necrocedia was a guy named Scotty on vocals, Sean on bass, Wes on guitar, Richie on drums. They broke up and became Bad Jeans, and that was Rich. That was everybody but Wes. Wes joined Ausrotten second guitar. Aaron left. I took over on vocals. Wes played guitar, 4-piece. Wes and Jim left at the same time.
Like shortly after. I mean,
Shortly.
it's like-
this
that was
this
like
all happened within
You guys-
a
less
year.
than a year.
You
Less
played
than a year.
shows with this lineup?
Yeah,
Couple.
up at IUP.
Weird places.
We did
IUP.
Wherever you could get in.
We didn't go very far. IUP. We didn't really
Play
that
college
lineup-
parties and IUP, weird places like that, State College maybe or
Yeah,
something.
we didn't. That was a short-lived lineup.
Very short, maybe not even a year. That was all
Yeah.
like 1992.
It wasn't. I don't know what. We just kept it going. I don't know. So I just remember being
Never
like,
recorded.
"This band's fucking good," and I was just glad because I was in a band with him.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. it was.
Well, it was great. We had fun.
Yeah, we had fun. Then like Wes and Jim.
The scene was cool.
Quit,
I was
and
finally
fucking Richie. I don't even remember.
finally
how we got
playing in a
Richie.
band that people cared about because like my high school bands played here and there. We got our few shining moments playing with bands that had the Banana or whatever, but we weren't cool. We were from the suburb. We were younger, So once I like started getting cheesy as it sounds, but it's true. Once I started getting some recognition, I wanted more. Like, wow, I'm actually doing something people care about, and I enjoy this music, and it's fun, and it was very exciting.
I think it's
It's like back
human thing to get a little and want more.
I was playing music I really wanted to play because with my high school band, it was, like I said, more like crossover, and there was always like a weird metal element that I wasn't necessarily into. And finally, I was in a punk band, and we wanted to sound like Discharge, and Discharge was my all-time favorite band. And I was like, "This is it. I'm not giving up." And so we got Richie, and there was a short period of time, like me, Corey, and Richie Caramadre, who was in Necrocedia, the drummer of Necrocedia, was playing drums for us. And it was just the three of us writing music, playing music, no vocals. And I probably was going to sing and play guitar, but I wasn't.
Where were we?
We may even practice at your mom and dad's basement at that point.
Yeah,
we had to go there. We had nowhere else to go. We went out to your mom and dad's and practice.
Yeah, that's right. We practiced there for.
And that was short-lived. And then Dave Tringa, very similar to Corey, was our friend who hung around and came to all the practices and drank and came to the shows and was our buddy. And it was kind of like one of those things like, well, we need a singer. And you look around the room and like, you, Dave, want to sing? Can give it a shot. Can you sing? Sure. He didn't think that shit out. It was just kind of like, it's punk rock. Whoever was in the room, pick up a mic, pick up an instrument. Can you play? Give it a shot. Fuck it.
I can't remember what song we did with him.
We hired from within.
It's like the first time him giving it a go. I remember his timing was completely off, and he was like singing like bit. No
disrespect, but it was his first band. He never did that before.
He was the quiet guy, man.
He was always very quiet.
It was just kind of funny that he just, I don't know, man.
But he had the
man,
guts to do it,
man.
And he
really
did it, and it was awesome.
It really empowered him.
Yeah, and he had a great voice.
Yeah, great ideas.
What I liked about his voice, you can understand what he was saying. It was his natural voice.
And it wasn't pretty. And
no, it was just natural. It was like a hardcore singer. It was just his voice angry instead of trying to do the bah, that was popular at the time.
Yeah.
He was just using his voice. It was an old school sound, And he just went for it. And
it definitely stuck out. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then Dave joined, and it was me, Corey, Richie, and Dave. We recorded the first Anti-Imperialist 7-inch with that lineup, but then we would start traveling and touring and doing weekends and stuff at that time. And we'd always play
weird places like
out east, in eastern Pennsylvania. We'd play Philly, Bethlehem, Allentown, Reading. What's that called? What do they call that out there?
Lancaster. No.
Those cities I mentioned.
I don't know. What do they call them?
They call them cities. Where lots of people hang out. Next thing you know, they live there. And
Pennsylvania?
No, what's that? The Lehigh Valley. The Lehigh Valley. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
The Lehigh Valley. So we started playing, and there's this guy named Ajax. John, he's going to hate me if I remember his real name. John Abastat or something like that. Abergast, Albatross, something like that.
No, it's John Abergast.
Yeah, John Abergast. And he lived out in like Bethlehem or something and was involved with that scene. And he was a little older. He was in Circle of Shit for a minute, the big Philly band from the 80s that the Zebra Man and Heavy Metal Parking Lot mentions. Remember the Zebra Man?
Yeah.
He was saying, that punk shit belongs on Mars. Circle of Shit, the Dicks.
Yeah.
Man, let's just hold that thought. Let's just talk about that. Like, right, Zebra Man, right? This fucking idiot metal dude in a fucking zebra leotard spandex thing, right? Drunk as shit at an 1986 Judas Priest Turbo Tour or whatever the fuck. gives the mic, wastes out of his mind, talking shit. I mean, everyone who knows that movie, right? Everyone knows that documentary. He stands out.
course.
The Zebra Man is the shit, right? Of all punk bands for him to talk about, like, I don't, fine, he's ripping on
just
punk, that's
so
fine. It's
shit.
great. For all punk bands at that time, for him to rip on Circle of Shit and the Dicks. Circle of Shit was just like a local Philly kind of legend. I don't even know if they had any albums,
the Dicks,
records.
Maybe
they
he's
had
just talking out of his ass when he said the Dicks. Who knows?
the Dicks were like great band, but pretty obscure. Like if he would have said, you know,
He must have had a younger brother.
and he hated them or something. Because if he would have said like the Ramones, the Clash, the Sex Pistols, Dead Kennedys, Black Flag.
Yeah.
You'd have been like, whatever, dude. I get
I
it.
never even paid that part any mind.
Oh, that blows my mind. I still watch that movie. I want to
it's like
rewind it. I'm
Circle
like,
of
wow,
Shit.
of all two
Yeah.
bands to mention, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But anyways, and John Ajax was in that band for a minute, and he was in Mr. Yuck and Turnbull ACs, and we met him through Necrocedia, Bad Genes, Some Machine Dudes, and stuff, and we'd stay at his house and we'd play out there and party and stuff. And he wanted to
time at his house.
Oh yeah,
right? He
wanted to move to Pittsburgh, and it was just one of those like dumb things, man. Like we said before, like Corey, you play bass, Dave, you sing. We're hanging out at Ajax's and having a couple. You moved to Pittsburgh and joined a band. Like the kind of dumb shit you said to people all the time, didn't even remember. And he did. You know, it was weird. And the cool thing we did one time, we played out there. We played out there, and they had a practice space in his basement of his house that his band or whatever practiced. And we were like hanging out during the day, bored. And I think we went downstairs and played Discharge covers.
Yeah.
Me, you, Jim Blyer was probably on the drums at the time.
That's right, man. That's right.
And we all had the big hair, the big discharge
like
hair.
Sleeping on the floor, but like sleeping
on your
waves.
face, not mess up your hair. Yeah, he couldn't.
Yeah, I couldn't fit in DC. Yeah,
that was the thing we do. We'd play
hell no.
discharge covers.
Yeah, that's right. I
And-
totally forgot about that. Oh my god.
He may have played with us. I don't know. But long story short, yeah. Then
It made sense.
next thing you know, he moved to Pittsburgh, and he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you asked me to join." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess we did."
Yeah.
We credit him on the Anti-Imperialist 7-inch, even though he didn't play on the recording, but he's credited.
Yeah, because he was in the band by the time
He was.
we were.
It was released.
Yeah.
And being the nice guy.
By the time we got the shit together to put it out, like
We'll
whenever,
put
like,
you on it.
We got to do the covers.
Even though you're
we'll
not
put
on
you on, even though you're
we're
not
at
in the
Kinko's
band.
cutting and pasting the covers, and we put him on the personnel list or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he was on Fuck Nazi to split with Naked Aggression in the first LP. But then he left. I'm not going to bore with all the details, but very Spinal Tap. We had like 37 different drummers or something. Well, without exaggeration, 8 or 10 different drummers.
Yeah.
And,
At least you guys were able to keep finding good drummers.
yeah.
Yeah,
Drummers are really tough to find.
we did
Forever.
good. Yeah, we
And
lucked
most
out
drummers
though.
are in like 3-4 different
Yeah,
bands.
we lucked out. Yeah, because Richie ended up moving out west
Yeah.
after.
I had a high
after
school
we did-
friend of
after
ours
we did,
named Mike played. Doug, Pat, Jesus.
Doug,
Yeah.
Pat, Dan.
Imagine I'm gonna go to the
Dan.
bathroom and get a drink, and I'll come back and you guys are still.
So yeah.
Then there was drummer number 27.
Yeah.
He was
There's
named
so and so.
Paul.
I've been writing this whole thing down.
Yeah. Oh
Before
my
Paul
God.
was.
Yeah.
How many people can say that?
Yeah.
Talking about?
Dude, we took
Pat, one of our drummers.
fill-in drummers. He was a tour drummer. He's in a band, Serpents of Dawn, and they're from Oakland. It's like stoner rock, but real. Like
On the level.
they sound like Oakland. Yeah, they're good. They're good. And he's the drummer, and he just kind of he carries the damn show.
Mm-hmm.
But his first tour was, I don't even know how the fuck did we wind up with him.
He moved, I think he was from Ohio. And he moved here for college, Pitt, and just met him through the scene.
You go to Pitt too?
No.
And he made it happen where he fucking was only going to miss, because we weren't there that long. He was like, I'm only going to miss blah, blah, blah days. But he had some sort of break. Because it was
He might have been in college.
February. No, it was. He had to
Todd.
take, I remember he had to schedule his fucking, his
Well,
college
weird
courses
enough,
around
it was
our trip.
20 years ago to this month. It was February of 1998
Yeah,
is when we went to Japan, so
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow,
Yeah,
holy
talk
shit!
about-
That
that was
that
crazy.
just kind of made me like, oh.
You had to be by far the tallest person in the country at that time.
I remember seeing some dude in Japan who was taller than me, and we made eye contact with each other. It was like we were in that
people.
Yeah, we were in that like
They had a
like that-
standoff, literally.
Well, we were in that real
Standoff.
touristy
They
part,
stood
man.
back to back.
Was he-
See who's taller, and he did the whole like across the head.
I know I'm fucking up the name, but it's a Kirijuku. It was like the part of Tokyo, like downtown Tokyo. It's a real touristy part. I just remember we're walking around there. I just remember seeing this guy who was like, I mean, he had a fucking like a head on me, man.
He thought he was
this guy was
the
like,
shit until you came along.
Yeah, and he was dude was like 6'7", man. He was fucking huge. I just remember like we're like I don't know. I just remember like we just made eye contact. We're like walking down the street. It's just like you recognize a tall guy. Like, yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like wow, holy hell. But yeah, it was kind of strange, you know.
Yeah, it was a chance of a lifetime.
Yeah,
How long were you guys there?
2.5 weeks or so.
No, not even. No.
2 weeks.
Not even. I think we're
Ah.
12 days. I want to say we're there for 12 days.
2 weeks.
3 of those days we're supposed to be recording, remember? And I don't know
You
what
didn't
the...
record a flexi
No.
in Japan?
No.
This dude, like, it sucked. We probably could have squeezed in 2 more shows. You know,
Yeah.
At least
Yeah,
2
there
more
was a
shows.
little bit of downtime, maybe. Yeah. It was February of '98 though, because the Winter Olympics were going on there,
Yeah, we flew back.
and the Winter Olympics
we
were
flew
about
back
to
and the
start.
fucking
Yeah.
U.S. hockey team was right
Right.
behind us.
And they were shit at the time. They lost.
Yeah, and they acted like
Big time.
assholes too, man.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them in line. We were standing in
Mhm.
line boarding our plane.
Yep.
They were.
They had their
just like, they just
gear
kept going back,
bags.
and we weren't around the television for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And why would you want to be?
Oh yeah, it was.
You're in Japan. You want to fucking see it all.
Yeah.
You don't want anything else, but because you're like, man, this will probably never happen again.
First and only time I ever watched a laser disc. I know that.
Remember what movie it was?
Blade Runner on laser disc.
Was it?
First and only movie. I think Dave tried to record it.
He was really into.
Recording it on VHS.
Dave was
Text
really
records.
into those classic '90s bootlegs, where like the people would go to the movie theater
Oh,
in like
yeah.
a big city like New York or wherever, like it premiered before it come to Pittsburgh, like the new movie, and bring video cameras. You know.
If something's good, someone's gonna do
Yeah.
it.
Or if it's just rare, because not all things rare are good, and not all good things are rare.
Also true.
Because if
Fleetwood
something's-
Mac rumors.
I wouldn't say it was good.
I'd
Yeah, I
say
would say it
there's
was
strong
rare.
moments. Yeah.
If you're buying Fleetwood Mac rumors
You're
in the
an
first
idiot.
place, fuck you.
Yeah. I like that record and all.
Oh, they're fantastic, great
yeah.
bands.
Obviously, they were
dude,
huge
you know-
influence, right?
I like.
Is that what you guys were going for?
No, we did like that.
System works for
Christy
them.
McVie, man. I had a crush on.
I like,
fucking
yeah.
Christy
No,
McVie.
we had the bass line from a popular,
Chain?
the Chain.
Yeah, yeah.
We were gonna steal that. We in
Yeah.
Ausrotten, we're always like, dude, man, because we thought it sounded like Conflict, and of course we were like,
Oh, yeah,
love Conflict
Yeah.
in the '90s, and we're like,
That's
Conflict.
that bass
It's
line.
like, what do we see? Yeah.
Like, how can we steal
Yeah.
that and turn that into the most
I think that's what.
epic,
I think that's
darkest
What, that's
punk
obviously
rock
what
behind
conflict.
it.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
obviously what conflict.
Just
did,
put some
you
kind of
know?
like, yeah,
They just
free the
changed it up
animals
enough.
over it or something, you know. Fuck the
Yeah.
state.
I like it.
Right now, people are snapping their
No, I got no.
Ausrotten and Caustic
Records.
Christ records.
I just got reunited with one of my old Fleetwood
They're
Mac
burning their
records.
butt flags.
The Peter Green stuff's good. Green Man Unleashed.
That's what I like. I
But
like.
everyone knows Green Man Unleashed from Judas Priest.
No, yeah, but
COC.
there's some other.
Well, no, what were some of the other songs they did that people covered? People always covered their
See, I
songs.
know, it's
they
like
did.
name a song.
Well, they did. Someone's gonna get their head kicked in tonight. The Rosillos did. Someone's gonna get their head kicked in tonight. It's actually a Peter Green Fleetwood Mac era. What was the big song that Santana did? Evil Woman, Evil Lady, something like
yeah.
that. You got to
Black
change
Magic
your evil.
Woman.
Oh, Black Magic. Wait,
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Magic Woman,
Right,
Fleetwood
right,
Mac.
right.
And then that other big song, Can't Help About the State I'm In, blah, 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 blah. Anything. Don't ask me what I think of you. Might not give you the answer
Oh,
that I
you
want me to.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Someone else covered. That was
Yeah,
Fleetwood Mac.
that's right. Yeah.
So there you
The
go.
fucking this was they never played that. Burns my ass like
Yeah.
with local radio. They never play that version. They never play that version. They play the cover of it.
Yeah.
And
Well, the
it's just
cover
like-
actually charted. It was an actual hit.
Yeah,
There's
I know.
a one-hit wonder. I
I
can't
know,
remember
but it's
the
just like,
band,
why
but
don't
they were
ever
called
play?
like Rocket or something.
I was listening to
stupid like that.
103 on the way, like, I was out running around earlier, and 103 came in, 103.1 came in, and they were playing Ramblin' Gamblin', man, from Bob Seger. And it was the version that you never hear. Like, DVE only plays the live version of it from, like, the...
whatever live record.
Yeah, whatever.
With the
like,
Silver Bullet band.
yeah,
playing
with
it,
the
and
Silver
not the
Bullet
system
band. Yeah,
playing
and
it.
it's just like, but it was like, hearing, like, that
That
103,
record
they
with the
play
woman on the
they play
cover.
the Bob
Killer.
Seger system version of it, man. It's fucking, it's
Good.
like, it is so fucking good, man. Just like that drum beat in it.
The drum
it's
beat
just like,
alone.
You
Yeah.
find that
Oh,
single
man.
at the flea market all day.
oh, really?
Yeah. They're beat the fuck every time, though.
Well, they played. They were
Yeah.
loved. As we
probably
go
wouldn't
from
care. That's all that record's supposed
Ausrotten
to
punk
sound.
rock to
I'll grab you one. next
Yeah, I
70s,
do. Yeah, if it's
yeah.
scratched up, I don't fucking care, man. It's just even just the fucking habit, you know. It's like, yeah, that Bob Seger system record fucking rips.
Mhm.
does.
It's the only Bob Seger record I own. Is
Yeah.
the Seger, with the woman saying on like the iceberg or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, that's-
The picture on the back of,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if that's Freud or whatever it is with, like, the crazy shit.
Oh, yeah,
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 The
yeah,
psychedelic.
yeah.
Rules
Another
super hard.
great
Is that song
artwork.
2 plus 2?
Yeah.
2 plus 2
Yeah.
is on my mind.
Those,
Before we offend too many listeners, we go back to
Oh,
punk rock.
Fuck that, man. That's like,
But that's what
all
that's,
those
see, that's
fucking-
the funny thing is I always tell people, not to be the dickhead condescending old man, is it like we said before, no one's born punk, you know?
Yeah.
And like all these people that started punk rock in the 70s and hardcore and stuff in the 80s, that wasn't like the first music they got involved with. That wasn't
obviously
like, you know,
not, yeah.
they all grew up, and they'll all tell you, when you see interviews with them, they'll all tell you, you know, they were into 70s rock or 60s rock or whatever it may
Velvet
be.
Underground.
Yeah, like the
Stooges.
older cats
Yeah.
were into that, and like
Yeah.
all the hardcore guys would
All
tell
those-
you,
all
you know,
those
they were into
Detroit guys.
Sabbath and
Yeah.
they were into Ted Nugent and all that shit, you know, and you hear it in their music, you know, when you listen to early 81, 82, 83 hardcore, you know,
oh yeah, absolutely.
and I mean, you had to start somewhere. I mean, I did. Like my first band was Kiss. Before that was Beatles and Monkees, and Kiss, and then you know I got into hard rock and heavy metal stuff. I was listening to Black Sabbath and AC/DC and early Iron Maiden, early Judas Priest and stuff before I even discovered hardcore. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But I will admit, once I heard hardcore and punk and like that mid
the
'80s,
end of
late '80s thrash metal
Crossover.
and crossover at the
Well,
time,
that's-
man.
yeah. Crossover hit me at the right time.
Damn.
The crossover.
The crossover.
The crossover hit me like right. We met at the right time.
Well, no, it was a good time because I was like really seriously getting involved with playing music in the scene and buying records and
Yeah.
doing fucked up shit to my
Oh,
hair and
absolutely.
going to shows and skateboarding, Powell Peralta decks, and at that time it was perfect, you know. And
Speaking of artwork, skateboard decks.
skateboard art
Yeah.
decks.
Holy shit.
You bought a deck based on the artwork. You
Yeah.
didn't you didn't know. I mean, at least I didn't know the actual performance of the deck, what the tail was like, and if you could get
Yeah.
a good ollie. I couldn't skate worth a damn. So I just wanted a fucking Powell Peralta because they had skulls. They had the
Skulls.
skulls.
Nice.
They had skulls on their
Yeah.
deck,
Cooler.
and it
Yeah.
looked cool with a discharge sticker and a Black Flag sticker. And Black Flag was the same way. Like Corey said earlier, 3 hours ago, whatever it was, their artwork, Raymond Pendenbaum's artwork, attracted me before I really knew the band.
Before you knew
It was almost a Kiss thing, like where
Yeah.
the artwork didn't necessarily match up to the music either. It
Yeah.
did, but it
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
Like I knew the
Just
music
seeing
was
the bars, and
odd.
I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
but I
even
keep
just
seeing
even
it.
the bars, man. It was
See,
just
I love logos.
Yeah.
I love logo. Like, you know, looking at this, I love just a bold logo.
I don't know.
Because when I was a
Bella did
kid,
this, or who?
I forget.
I can't remember who originally did that. I don't think it was him. Someone
I
did
don't think it
before
was
him.
Bella either, but there's like, yeah.
There, it's somebody, and
Yeah,
I know.
Mikey
and if you were to
knows.
say
Yeah,
it,
Mikey.
I would know.
Mikey or Dave.
Mikey would
Margold,
definitely
yeah.
know.
Yeah. But-
He was in earlier.
And I was really into symbolism and stuff. I mean, being a little kid, going back again 3 hours in the interview, like
Catholicism.
being a little kid, growing up in Catholic school and all the satanic panic and taught that pentagrams and stuff meant things, and you're
The pentagram, the cross might be the best
cross
logos
upside down,
ever.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then once the anarchy symbol came around, forget about it. But so when I saw bands that had those bold logo, like Black Flag bars, I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, I didn't.
I just knew it meant
Me
something.
either.
Yeah.
It meant something. It was a symbol. It stood for something. Chances are it was something that my parents and people wouldn't like.
Yeah. It was intimidating.
It was intimidating. It was so simple. I didn't know what it meant. I mean, if I could have, I would have fucking tattooed it on my forehead at 14 years old.
Yeah.
And regretted it now on the wrong side of 45. But but you know what I mean? It meant something. I looked at their album covers and I was like, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like there's something going on here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if these guys worship the devil. I don't know if they just, angry, antisocial, they kill cops. I don't know. All the above,
Were you able to see them before?
The
Is that
final
band?
tour, 86, with the hired gun drummer, bassist. Yeah, I didn't even know. I knew what I was seeing, but I didn't,
Long hair, Black Flag.
Very long hair, Black Flag.
Yeah.
We're talking Greg Ginn, very long hair. That was at City Limits, which was a,
This one.
86, 87. That was at City Limits, which was out in Penn Hills, Plum,
I wonder if there's a date on this zine.
somewhere around there. Was that Doug Fidenik's scene?
Yeah.
And they, when, a typical Black Flag SST package tour, it was like 2 opening bands that Greg Ginn played in, Gone, Swa, Painted Willie, some shit like that. Here it is. Yeah. The City Limits.
Wow.
City Limits was a cool place.
Metal-looking bass player.
And oddly enough, there's Circus of Death. That may be
That
Ajax.
is Ajax.
Yeah.
I can tell by
And
the
the
photo. I can tell
photograph.
by the vest.
Yeah.
It's
He probably still has it.
it is.
I think it
his
is.
vest. Yeah, it's his vest. Yeah.
But
Sorry to the people listening, we're looking at an old zine.
yeah.
85,
Create visuals in
it
your
must be
head.
85.
I'm 86.
That's
I
like-
could just scan it and put it on the internet.
That's
and
a
make
huge
link.
fucking
People
logo.
Should.
look at it.
I'd love to have
Yeah,
this
that's really
personally.
cool.
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah,
They
this
could
is cool
probably
shit.
pull the
At the Banana, remember those fucking lights
staples out of it.
with the
and scan whole
carpet
thing.
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
wall
yeah,
as
yeah.
soundproofing?
That was like you're hanging over the cliff as you're standing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, 3/4 of that building to this day is still
Yeah.
on stilts over a hillside. And City Limits was out in the suburbs. It was a skating rink. They started hosting.
Where was that at?
It's in, I guess that would technically be Plum or Penn Hills or something. And it is in a shopping center, like your very typical suburban shopping center. It was the end of the shopping center, the last storefront or whatever you want to call it. And it was originally a roller skating rink, and it was really big. I mean, they did the bigger shows there. You could fit 1,200 people in there, safe to say. And they had a stage, and you were standing on the roller rink, and they had a little concessions bar, where you would have bought your popcorn and stuff. And
People moshing in roller skates.
no. But and that is like when it was very dense. It was a very mid to late 80s venue, right?
Yeah.
It lasted into the early 90s because it was like looking at this zine. It was when Black Flag outgrew the Banana, and they had to play, instead of packing 200 people in the Banana,
Yeah,
they were packing 1,200 people in City Limits. The thrash metal thing became huge. Yeah. We saw Motorhead and Slayer with Overkill opening there, so like
It's City Limits.
at City Limits, that was where you saw the hardcore bands that were crossing over or getting huge.
Remember Testament? They played.
And
I
then
saw Testament.
the
I
whole
saw
thrash
King
metal
Diamond.
thing of the late 80s played there.
King Diamond.
Rob said they played like mostly "fuck you" crowd stuff, but they played one old song and it was "Fix Me."
Probably makes sense.
That
If
makes
I
sense. Yeah,
remember
I would-
Did
correctly,
you show Corey?
No, I wasn't. But
I
I can see them doing that because that was like they were trying. Greg Ginn
The
at
one,
that point was
like,
trying to reinvent Black Flag.
55-second song.
they had a
Yeah.
guy named Anthony Martinez on drums and a guy that recently
There's
just
a-
passed
Yeah,
away
yeah.
called Chell or Cell or
Yeah,
something. Weird.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he had
yeah.
like a Cher Madonna name
Yeah.
on bass. That was
Yeah.
after Kira, after the Descendants guy.
I remember that show.
Bill
happening.
Stevenson.
So I remember they talked about it on Evening Magazine.
Bill Turney, if I'm not mistaken, Bill Turney, who was in a band called Heathen, who was kind of a metal band, and then went on to be in a band called Travesty in the late 80s, who was members of Castle Blood. And they were your quintessential crossover. I keep saying that, but you got to remember the late 80s.
Everything was crossover.
It was a very weird music scene. It was
Everybody went metal.
Metal bands went hardcore. Hardcore bands went metal, or hardcore bands went what was known as college rock, and that was your Husker Du's and your Replacements, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or you went crossover, like COC, DRI,
Yeah.
and then the British bands were doing it. Their crossover is a little bit different than ours. Like we had DRI, COC.
They had English Dogs.
They had English Dogs, Discharge, dare I say, the shit they were doing. Broken Bones, that's a good example.
Yeah.
And then like that stuff kind of like
Better
Concrete
examples in
Socks, Amoebics, Ripcord Heresy. You know what I mean? That late 80s British sound. His band he likes, Doctor and the Crimpins. And
that's why that we're talking about. That's why the album Y, the Discharge album Y.
Yeah.
It's like what really sets that fucking record apart is the fucking drummer.
Yeah.
It's the drummer from
Bambi.
Doctor and the Crimpins.
They had a drummer
you
called
listen to
Bambi.
Doctor and the Crimpins, man. There's they're just a weird fucking bizarro band.
Yeah.
But it was just like
Very
the
British,
drummer-
very weird, humorous, wore
yeah.
costumes on stage.
Yeah, they were like.
He was
noir.
originally in before Discharge he was in
Oh, that's right.
The Insane or something. I don't know. There's somebody out there throwing shit
know,
at their
like, you
computer.
fucking
You
dipshits,
fucking
yeah.
poser. You don't know. He wasn't like one of those like kind of more UK 82. No one's listening to this shit. Sorry, John. They got those two assholes. Well, I'll wait until next week when you get somebody cool. Anyways, anyway, now to be in Discharge, but not to get off track. But yeah, City Limits was cool. City Limits was like where the big bands played, the big thrash metal bands and the hardcore bands that were.
I saw Violence there.
Yeah, you
Did
saw
see that?
Voivod. We saw. I was just telling my
Voivod was
girlfriend
amazing.
the other night. It was funny. For some reason, fucking Soundgarden came up. And I hate
Soundgarden there. It was fucking. Oh,
we
that
saw
was
Soundgarden, Faith No More opening for Voivod.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Opening.
Faith
for
No More
Voivod.
was first. Then fucking.
I sat outside.
Then Soundgarden.
I bought my
then-
ticket, sat outside, and then like somebody's like Voivod's about to go on, and I went in, and it was a great show.
Yeah, I saw that.
But
whole damn
Danzig
thing.
played there the
Danzig
first
was-
Danzig
yeah.
tour in like '88 or
Danzig
so.
Half-Life, yeah.
That was a great show. It was Necropolis, a local like
Half-Life.
metal thrash crossover band, Half-Life, and Danzig, right? And
Danzig
had that album out, that first self-titled album with the skull, and obviously had 8 songs to play in the set, whatever. They had. I don't know what's on that album. I don't even own it, but
they played the album.
they play the album.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not enough.
They did like 4 songs. They did 4 songs.
And there's probably some songs that
5
aren't going to
songs.
make the live set because they're probably not that good. They're filler on the album. Long story short,
more than half of it.
It's a big show. I mean, we're talking 12, 15, 2,000 people packed in a fucking roller skating rink. And it's Danzig. And with that, as much as I'm not a Danzig fan, I'll admit, and don't even really like the first album, but it's a killer lineup. It's Danzig. It's fucking Chuck Biscuits, the best hardcore
Eerie
punk drum.
Vaughn.
Eerie Vaughn, John Christ,
John
whatever that guy's
Christ,
name is.
yeah.
Great lineup, right? So they play and leave the stage, and they have fucking proper security guards, bouncers up front, and everything. That guy Jesse James was their fucking roadie. That asshole Jesse James that did like the
The
custom
biker guy?
motorcycle
Yeah.
thing that had the girlfriend with swastika tattoos or whatever. Something he had his 15 minutes 10 years ago was like their fucking roadie or bodyguard or some shit. Anyways, they play and then they come back out.
I think it was their driver.
Yeah, and they come back out. Encore. They come back out, and I'll never forget this.
I got thrown out by this point.
Oh, I got a huge black flag. I mean, a black flag. I'm looking at black flag. I got a huge black eye at that show.
Yeah.
And Danzig grabs the mic, and the fucking Jersey accent. We know what you want to fucking hear. 1, 2, 3, 4. 20 eyes. And they just kick into an entire set of Misfits. The place literally explodes. Like probably one of the most violent pits I've ever been in. Like, imagine 1,200 people
Like
in a
88,
full-on
89.
brawl. Yeah. A full on fight.
I got thrown
Imagine
out.
1,200 people fighting,
sucks.
basically.
I was
Friendly
crushed
fire.
up.
I mean, and there was a guy named who was the singer of Travesty? Jerry, and he was a tall motherfucker, right, like the Corey size, and he was a Misfits looking cat, right? He had the black hair and the fucking dreadlock and the leather jacket with death and skulls on it, and he would do this dance. Like, dancing was weird back then, like slamming, moshing, whatever. It was weird. It was as much as it was violent and you were fighting and circle ping beat up, you were dancing too. There were people who would actually dance, and it was cool. You're like, oh look, that's an actual dance move as you're busting someone's head. And he would do this thing with his elbows, right? I mean, envision this at home. I'm clenching my fists, and I'm holding my arms close to, and I'm just throwing elbows. He
looks like he's flapping his wings.
Yeah, I'm kind of like rowing a boat. I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's like you're rowing a boat.
And he's perfect size, where his is.
Oh.
And it hit the fucking bone right here, right? He turns around. I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude, it's cool. You know, I had like a fucking mohawk. I was in high school at the time, and we had this teacher who kept me after class the day of that show. Total coincidence. I was in some shop class you took in high school as a blow-off because you didn't want to have an education because you were punk, and then you regret it 30 years later. But and he kept me after school, made me miss the bus to the point my mom had to come pick me up. My mom was always on my side. She was cool. And for my appearance, he said, someone's going to beat your ass. So many words he's telling me. Someone's going to kick your ass. They're not going to like the way you look, da-da-da. You should change your image. And fuck you, man. I'm punk. Fuck you. And went home. My friends, we went to St. Louis, saw. Sure as shit, I get a fucking huge black eye. Friendly fire. My friend Jerry hits me. Friendly fire. I go to school the next day with my mohawk down. I didn't have the fucking balls to spike my mohawk. And I have a black eye. We're talking. No, I missed school. I skipped school and then went back the following day. Swollen shut black eye. And I saw that teacher, that 8th period, last class of the day.
Mom, I can see your mom be like, you gotta go to school.
He just fucking, I can't remember his name. We thought he was Amish. He looked like he was fucking Amish.
Mr. Bateman.
Yeah, he had just that
Bateman.
chin
His name
strap.
was Mr. Bateman.
And we'd always be like, you're fucking Amish.
Yeah,
and he taught like carpentry, which would make sense, but wood shop. And he just looked at me and he thought, told you. And I didn't tell him. I was that close. I mean, I just wanted to go up to him like, look, motherfucker, you don't even know how this happened. I didn't get beat up. This is my friend did this by accident because we were slam dancing to Misfits, man. You know, I'm like, he'd never understand.
You don't understand me, man.
You don't understand, man. You old people don't understand us kids.
He was like garbage.
And he just told you. I told you. And I was like, whatever, man. You got me. Fuck. That was City Limits. City Limits was cool. Now it didn't turn into a Rite Aid. I don't know what it is now.
Punk.
Yeah. I actually, oddly enough, that we're talking about this, my girlfriend works out that way at a vet. And funny enough, she said she went to some restaurant out there. I'm like, wait, where was it? And she told me. And we like Google mapped it or whatever. And I was like, son of a bitch, that's the same plaza where City Limits was. Yeah, I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah.
It's obviously
Richie,
like,
I think it was,
it's a dollar store or Family Dollar or something now.
Of course it is.
But
it's kind of out there. It's kind of
the Bananas, an Italian restaurant, still run by the same people, but an Italian restaurant. But City Limits,
Still crazy by all accounts.
The same crazy motherfuckers that ran the Banana run the Zorro's restaurant, which I've yet to eat.
That's funny because at one point, man,
I want to go though.
For the longest time, like Oakland was like the.
They have a bar. Let's go. We'll do the rest of the podcast from Zorro's.
Oh God. It'd probably end the same way that they always.
The last time I went to the Banana, it was an exploited show.
Yeah.
And there were bikers, pagan bikers,
that was crazy.
wearing their colors, doing security alongside, I shit you not, alongside Pittsburgh motorcycle police officers wearing their colors. Envision that.
Yeah. It
Two
was fucked up.
People that should be enemies were bouncing a fucking exploited show at the Banana and throwing. And Drew Vigio, a guy we grew up with, and we weren't allowed to slam dance at that point. No slamming, no moshing, no stage diving.
That's right.
And it's a fucking exploited. People were going off.
It was on that War Now.
And this guy Drew we grew up with was, he was
with typo negative and biohazard.
Yeah, Jesus, fuck those guys. But he was the bigger kid, and he was a loudmouth. He was the what's the Goonies kid that does a truffle shovel. He was that kid.
Chunk, yeah.
Chunk was the monster.
Yeah.
Oh, Chunk, that's right.
Anyways, like he was that obnoxious kid. Like,
would
say fuck in front of your dad, just for kicks.
Yeah.
Long story short, he's slamming, moshing, and 2 cops and 2 bikers pick him up by his arms and his legs, and he's parallel, looking straight down to the floor. They have him as a battering ram, basically. An old medieval log battering ram in a castle. And it was going for this big fucking metal door. It was the door of the banana.
Oh, my God.
It was this big, like your door.
Yeah,
a big
it was
steel
like
door
that.
with the crossbar
Yeah.
that you hit.
That sound.
And he sees it coming, and he puts it on his head, and they hit his head with the bar. Boom! And the banana, the way it was, you opened that door, and you had this long, dark, scary, smelly, pissy alley. Tunnel that had a dumpster that smelled like death.
Oh, yeah.
And then it went out to Bigelow, and they marched him down and just threw him into the street like trash.
Yeah, it was great. Exploited were great. Yeah, the sound started going down. Like, it just, I don't know, shit started breaking. Waddy starts breaking microphones, like, off the ceiling, off of these lights that are back here. Waddy starts punching all these.
Stage lights on the back
Well, they
of the
cut,
stage.
yeah. His mic kept cutting out. There was also, like, a row that went in front. It was just like a rectangle.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
It was just, like, framed
to
in.
light just the stage.
Yeah.
What was the first Ausrotten shows? What are those even like? Is it like to where and to who even? Is it like almost an immediate, like, people get it? Or is it kind of slow on the take?
No, I think we were lucky. I'm really trying to remember.
Because that would have been like 90. 90 would be the
first show would have been 91. I think we were lucky that our first shows we got put on bills with, like, the then cool established popular or whatever bands, you know what I mean?
Popular here or popular coming through, or both?
Here. I mean, it's probably local shows. Actually, I think our first show may have been at Upstage, which, again, was on Forbes Avenue in Oakland, which was, like, where that IGA, assuming it's still there, kind of above the Dirt Buffet.
There. Yeah, it's, like, right next to the Dirt Buffet.
Yeah, the entrance is next to the Dirt Buffet, and you kind of go up a flight of stairs to the second floor, which
there could be a whole podcast episode on the Dirt Buffet.
Or that, yeah.
On both of those things.
Dirt Buffet?
Yeah.
Or he was just trying to explain where the upstage
was.
Oh,
yeah,
next,
which I know
next to the Dirt Buffet.
Have you been in that IGA?
No.
I went once.
They have pictures from the upstage on the wall.
The upstage
like
was around.
Behind the cash register.
Yeah, the upstage was apparently around for a long time. It was around since like the 70s or 80s.
70s.
And before my time, and it was like a mob bar, apparently owned by like some mobsters or something. And it was like, I don't know what they had going on there. There were
numbers and
there were some punk shows, hardcore shows there early on. Like DRI played there in '84.
Do you remember? I was asking him about. I was like, the first Ausrotten shows. Did you see when, like, before you were in the band, like the first things, or?
What do you mean? You were probably at the first Ausrotten shows. May have been with Code Red.
I can't even.
They might have been with your band.
Yeah, it was.
I want to say there was a show
you guys went
at the Upstage.
I was just like, fuck, we gotta follow that.
I think there was a show at the Upstage that was like a big deal. That something like Alex from Submachine and Sean from Necrocedia booked.
It was just locals. I want
to say
there was the first one
off touring band. It wasn't anybody like big.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh.
I was a band from like Jersey or something weird. Didn't they have like a weird singer called Red Scare? And he was like a little like.
Oh, that's Motherflower.
Was it
that was at the Beehive. Motherflower was at the Beehive.
The Beehive in
Oakland, yeah.
Keep in mind, the Beehive T-Mobile. In Oakland, where the T-Mobile is, the old police station. It looks like a castle.
It's a city crest. It's like
that was a cool spot. That was a cool venue.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was probably there or Upstage, and it was probably with Submachine and Necrocedia. Code Red, Corey's band at the time.
There was that band. Oh man, it was. Did Pleasureheads play that?
Pleasureheads, possibly.
With Justin Geever on drums.
Quite possible.
That was that. That's what the show was.
Pleasureheads was a band that was a woman named Deb
Cannizzaro.
Who played guitar and sang.
Telecaster. Always played a Telecaster.
And who's the other guitarist? The other woman.
Patty
Pizzula.
Patty Pizzula. Smith Hutchins.
Smith on bass.
And Justin was on drums.
At that point, you just played Justin.
No, I'm thinking. Yeah, he played with them for a couple shows. And they played with Phil.
Well, McGee played drums for him. He was on the records. McGee, who was the first drummer of the Six.
Oh, that's right.
Was actually the first drummer of Pleasureheads at the time.
Dude, that's single, like Catholic Guilt.
Yeah, I think he's on that.
Yeah,
He's
that
on the one that has
oh.
the picture of them, of the three of them sitting there, and Deb is like lying across.
I don't have.
She's
that
in like
one.
this nice kind of gown, like a
I
prom
don't have
dress,
that one.
and she's lying across their laps. And
Yeah.
McGee is reading like a newspaper that says something like Kennedy's dead or John Lennon's dead or some shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, the early Ausrotten shows would have been in Oakland at Upstage or the Oakland Beehive, opening for, like I said, the bigger up and coming, past the torch bands like Necrocedia and Submachine, and probably played to a decent crowd. And
It was always like
I think people dug
100
it.
some people.
Yeah, the scene was
Yeah,
weird then.
average.
It was a weird transition, but there were people coming to shows.
We
Like I
also
touched
brought,
on
we
earlier.
also brought a lot of people.
Yeah, we brought people from like the suburbs, and we brought people from all over. And there was still like it was a weird changing of the guard. Like I said before, like a lot of the bands that I got into and got me into the scene were kind of on their way. Doom Watch was still around, but they had a different lineup. Dan was out of the band. Half-Life was either dead or in some weird Facer. They called themselves Facer at the time, and they were kind of holding on. Submachine was just starting out. Necrocedia was already established, but they moved to the city from Altoona. And there may be a couple other bands I'm forgetting about, like Pleasureheads, Hard On Gang.
And it was weird because like all those bands
Cavemen
were,
from Oklahoma, like some
Yeah,
weird
Rick
bands.
Bach,
Rick
yeah.
Bach, the
Caveman
famous,
from
the
Oklahoma?
Rick Bach, who's like the famous Pittsburgh artist who does like all the Mad Mex artwork, and you know, Mad Mex restaurant stuff. He was in a band called Cavemen from Oklahoma. There's
It
a
was
lot
just
of
him. It was him and a drum machine and a
Really?
guitar. Maybe they had a drummer sometimes.
There was a lot of bands that weren't necessarily been punk or hardcore per se, more weird experimental.
Punk by proxy.
Yeah, but what's weird is you got to also keep in mind that the early '90s was the whole. I don't know what that genre's called. It was like the proto grunge scene, right?
Like college rock stuff.
Yeah, but it was like
yeah.
Mudhoney when they first started.
Like
Soundgarden.
heavy indie
Nirvana's
music, I
first
guess.
album came out in
Yeah.
'89.
And they played here.
Yeah, they played
Before
her.
grunge had a label.
Yeah, there was that. A lot of hardcore bands were going that route. You know, like they went metal or crossover, or they went college rock, like I was saying earlier, like Husker Du or 7 Seconds, and Replacements. And then look at Necros. Necros went rock, and then they became Big Chief.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
remember
remember.
that
I
shit?
saw
Yeah.
Big. I remember Big Chief at the upstage.
It was like
Doom Watch.
that Touch and Go Records at the time. AmRep, Amphetamine Reptile,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
label. Sub Pop when they first started. So a lot of the Pittsburgh hardcore scene was going that way, right?
A lot of those bands were playing. At
A lot of those bands were playing here. That was
Manny
its
was
own
bringing
scene.
them up.
Manny would bring those bands, and Dave Martin was big in that. Dave Martin did Mind Cure. Yeah, Phase 2, Mach 2, whatever you want to call it. That was kind of like that style of music. That was his thing. And you had Sonic Temple out in Wilkinsburg, which was a Masonic temple that had shows. It only lasted 1 year, 1989.
Not even a year. I think it's like 8 months.
It was in 89, and man, like Fugazi played there. When
Yeah,
they were
their
kind
last
of
show of their
nobodies.
first tour.
Yeah,
Holy
Nirvana
shit,
played
they
there when they had Bleach
You saw
out,
them
and there were
for that one?
nobody.
That's the first Fugazi
And then you got
show.
like-
You went to that. The
yeah.
first Fugazi show.
You got a lot of weird.
You think it was good? Or you think it was
Oh, they were great.
lame that it wasn't?
They were
kind of
great.
it?
He was the guy that would go to Fugazi shows and scream Minor Threat.
Yeah, boy, I get fucking.
And Ian Mackay would stop the set.
No.
And give a big.
He
fucking. No, I remember Ian Mackay giving a big speech like, Minor Threat was the band from 1980 to 1981. Then we broke up and gave the whole history just to kind of basically say like, that was then, this is now, shut up.
Yeah.
And everybody had to like get lectured, and it was because of him.
Yeah.
Which to this day is fucking awesome.
Yeah. But the
and
thing
quickly,
is, I was that one guy in every city.
Yeah.
So
but we played DC
idiot,
once. Ausrotten played DC once, and we played the legendary fucking Wilson Center, which was really cool, right?
Which got flooded that day.
Yeah. So we played the Wilson Center, and we're all like, man, this is really cool. It's like playing CBGBs or something, right? This is legendary. And the next day in DC, we had a day off or something, and we were down there, and there was a big outdoor festival, activist rally type thing for I can't remember what the cause was at the time. And Fugazi was playing in a bunch of bands, and they were gonna have this draw awareness to something and blah blah blah. Really cool. Obviously, Ausrotten was into that. So some people from down there that like did our show or something tried to get us on that show, right?
It was a Positive Force show.
It might have been a Positive Force, and it was like feed the homeless, free Mumia, something like that. And long story short is, I think Fugazi kind of had the say, right? And they were asked, Ian Mackay and Fugazi was asked, like, hey, there's this band called Ausrotten, can they jump on the show? And they said no. And they wouldn't let us play because Ian Mackay was afraid, quote unquote, what we were told, afraid of the crowd.
The wrong crowd
would show up that we bring, because we would bring actual like punks and hardcore and crusties and stuff, and they might be too rowdy.
Yeah.
And part of me was like,
it didn't bum me out.
No. Here's the thing. Part of me was like,
it rained that day anyway.
Yeah, we're like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like we're on the same side. We're trying to. We're on the same team. We're trying to support the cause and bring awareness stuff too. And then part of me was like, holy shit, Ian Mackay knows who my band is. Yeah, that's really cool. I made it. And then part of me was like, and not only does he know who my band is, he doesn't want to play with my band. Fuck yeah. That's dumb as fuck. So like I went like within like a few seconds of thinking about it, I went from like angry to proud that we wouldn't play that show.
There's a handful of like weird shows that we were to play. One of them was I remember we skipped out to go to New York. We were supposed to play Carnegie Mellon University with Rusted Root.
And the Clarks.
And the Clarks and Submachine. I think
the Clarks
Submachine ended up
Clarks
playing.
Were nobodies. Yeah. It was an animal rights benefit of some sort. And Doug, who played bass in Submachine at the time, wore one of those silly chicken costumes. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would get from the costume store that you would see a guy handing out flyers outside of a KFC wearing a big, hammered, stupid yellow feathered. With the fucking
playing a 77 grabber, hammered,
the red mohawk, what is that called? The gobbler, the red fat under the chicken's beak.
We ended up skipping out and go to New York, but it was like we could have played with
Rusted Root before they
we were in Japan.
Had that big hit.
We were in Japan. The same thing with Chumbawamba. They were trying to get us on the Chumbawamba show in Tokyo.
We were mistaken for Chumbawamba on the flight over.
Plane,
we flew British Airways.
That would have been awesome.
Well, we flew British Airways from New York City to Tokyo.
That Crass Air Chumbawamba stuff is...
we covered one of those songs.
That's how they knew who we were, because of that.
Well, Chumbawamba was popular at the time.
What song did you guys cover?
Oh, we covered like, I don't even know what it was. It was an early punk. On their early 7-inch. Before like, it's on a 7-inch.
Never mind the ballads.
No, it's pre that.
It's early.
No, it's not even on that. It's because like...
that song is on the LP.
Is it?
Recorded from the
okay.
LP.
I remember being on a 7-inch that Dave owned. And the 7-inch had like the symbol... Chumbawamba kind of symbol with like lyrics or writing or something through it.
Something
I can't remember. Yeah, exactly. Because the two albums, the Nevermind the Ballads and Pictures of Starving Children Sell Records, were more like the theatric Chumbawamba, where they were doing like the fake game show where they like behead
it was
Paul McCartney or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that was like the making fun of Live Aid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the running theme of that one.
But when we were flying to Tokyo, we flew out of New York City and we're in a big old whatever.
That's a huge fucking
Jumbo
it was a
737. Yeah.
737.
I'm not gonna act like I know anything about
It
planes.
was. It was a 737. Yeah.
And the thing is, the flight over, there wasn't many people, and this is pre 9/11. So after we took off and we're flying, and we're all in our assigned seats, trying to be cool,
having
perfect.
an entire row to ourselves.
The flight attendant comes and is like, "Hey," it was a male flight attendant. He was English, British Airways, and he's like, "Now that we took off, and you got like a 16-hour flight or whatever," he's like, "You guys spread them, make yourself comfortable, spread them around the plane, do whatever you want." So we literally spread apart, put out our suitcases, set up little
I was
camps.
smoking in the back.
We were like sleeping.
You
Yeah.
could still smoke on airplanes.
And
I was in the back
he kept,
smoking.
yeah, he kept coming up and saying like, hitting around that we were a band. And in those days, like, you snuck into countries, literally.
Yeah.
You got your passport. Japan, we didn't even bring a guitar or bass,
Nothing.
a pick. We brought no musical instruments. We wore like suit jackets and ties.
No bullshit. Oh,
Trying to,
you dress nice.
Yeah, we're trying to look nice because everyone's telling us, man, Japan's really hard to get into. So we're on this flight.
Oh, dude, I was
and we
wearing-
obviously look like idiots. We still have like purple hair and
Dude,
stuff.
I had red jeans on. I had the red mom jeans on.
The ones you
And
wear with
some-
the Iron City shirts still?
Yeah, no. Different pair. No, they were like these. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I had some fucking like terrible shirt on.
We looked like
I tried to look normal, and I looked fucking.
Yeah, we didn't know how
I looked. Oh,
we still look like a band. We look like kind of like
I looked like I got dressed in a fucking dark closet.
yeah, we still look
Remember,
like
remember I had
idiots.
hair dye all over my
Yeah,
fucking I tried
dyed
to
your hair black,
and I had
red
black
before
smeared
that.
all over my face. I was hungover as shit.
So we're on the flight, and then the flight attendant finally comes around, and he keeps hinting around that we're a band, and we're denying it.
And we're all paranoid. Like,
They're on to us. They're on to us. He's gonna tell Japan when we get there that this band's trying to infiltrate their country and make millions of dollars to take back to the States. Yeah, whatever. Paranoia. And it finally came about that we saw him like whispering with the other flight attendants. And keep in mind, it's a huge plane and there's barely anyone on it. So we stood out like sore thumbs. We find out that they thought we were Chumbawamba. And we're kind of looking around, and Dave had like the big bald skin head, fucking skin hair at the time. I had like this bleached, semi-spiked hair.
But you were dressed the nicest.
But if you looked at Chumbawamba at the time, they had people in the band who looked like that.
Yeah.
Spiky hair.
But they had women in the band. We didn't have any women with us. But Dave looked like the bald head guy. I looked like the fucking train spotting guy with the fucking bleached hair. He looked like somebody.
I looked like the junkie or whatever.
He looked like, the guy Chumbawamba no one remembers his name.
Yeah.
The bass player.
I'm the
He
guy,
looked like the bass player. I mean, whatever. Fuck this guy. No, but anyways. And
I would be the guy.
I remember like he started kissing our ass, and he said, "Where are you going to Japan? You gotta have sake. They were giving us free sake because they thought we were Chumbawamba." And once that came out, I'm looking at this motherfucker. Keep in mind he's a British man.
You guys have American accents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at one point I'm like, you look like fucking Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean. What's up?
Yeah, they did.
He looked like
totally did.
Mr. Bean, Rowan. He totally looked like him. And I started getting kind of shitty with him. Like, fuck you, ain't Chumbawamba. You look like Mr. Bean, motherfucker. It was fun.
This one time, remember that one time we're flying back from Germany, and we were coming back. It was like after some insane fucking drive to get to the airport, and we had Jimmy Martin with us. It was that second time we went to Europe. We just did
we did Germany, a tour of Germany, yeah.
And we're fucking coming back, and we were on Pakistan, Air Pakistan, which doesn't even fly into the country anymore.
No. All pre 9/11.
Yeah, and
We used to fly Air Pakistan.
but it was also a Muslim airline. Yeah. Therefore, there was no alcohol. And as soon as you sat down on the fucking plane, remember that thing on the screen had like a table, like it had a party on the table. It was like bongs, fucking booze, syringes,
all the forbidden
razor blades, pills, everything. And it was like it had a big red circle and a slash through it. And it was like, oh shit. It was just terrible.
No alcohol, and we all went in vegetarian meals, and they gave us meat, and we tried to explain politely, and they would just tell us like, "Well, eat everything else but the meat."
Yeah,
like, you don't get it because you'd have like this
like it was
roast beef, whatever the hell it was,
Yeah,
in a meat gravy with little potatoes and little baby carrots, and they'd be like, "Well, eat the potatoes and carrots."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Well,
meat. Yeah.
first off, it's in meat sauce. No. Second off, we paid for this. We want more than just potatoes and carrots. We want a meal, man. It's gonna be a long flight." Yeah, it was pretty rough. And there was a lesbian couple on the plane,
German,
and they did not like them.
God, holy shit!
We thought we were getting treated like shit, and these poor women.
Yeah, they were holding their own.
Like
man.
that. Yeah,
those women were holding their own.
Were,
they were badass. They came on the plane, made no bones about. Like,
yeah, they were catching a lot of
Fuck
shit.
all of you,
yeah,
man.
that's really sad. They were catching a lot of shit. People did not like that.
Yeah, and there was that dude that was reading this book. And he was, he was probably a Pakistani man or some shit. He's sitting there, and we're like, I don't know, we're like about to take off. And I remember him sitting next to Jim. I remember it was hot as hell on that plane, too. Mm-hmm. There's this guy reading this book called Doomsday in the Afterlife. And we're like, oh, I'm like, Jim, look
you
at
can't make
that.
this shit up. It was like a movie. It was
Like,
shit out of like a movie,
Then we ended up eating a bunch of fucking Percocets. At least I did. I ate a bunch of fucking Percocets, passed out on Jim, sweating. Oh, that was a terrible fucking
Well, that was
flight.
the flight back from Japan. We thought we were going to have the same flight that we had over.
Oh, and you guys are packed like sardines?
Yeah.
Packed like sardines. Luckily, there was alcohol. Luckily, Dave had painkillers because he had a bad back. And we were all just like, put out our hand like this to Dave, and he knew.
I remember,
Gave us pills.
I think I was getting Pat.
Not that I
was getting you guys to
recommend
order
anybody
beers
doing
for
pills
me.
and alcohol, but
I was getting you guys to order beers for me, and I was just pounding beers. And you guys didn't want to hold on to the empty, like you and Pat wouldn't hold on. Like, I'm not, no, man. And I was just pounding, like anytime they'd come by, I'd be like, order one for me, you order one for me. And I think you guys cut me off.
now here we are.
And I was shoving
complaining
beer
about
cans.
flies.
And I was shoving beer
We're going
cans down
the other
front
side of
my
the
pants.
world playing music, and we're griping about the flight.
Yeah.
Typical Americans.
Yeah,
No.
typical American.
No, we just
What was the first
drank
time
and took
out
pills.
there?
It was Europe. We went to Europe. Ausrotten went to Europe in '96.
What, for 5 weeks?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
That
We
was-
split up after that.
We had to take a break after that.
Yeah.
We just
Where'd you guys land? Where did it start?
Heathrow, London,
Yeah.
England. One of the toughest airports to land
The
in.
worst. The worst.
They fucking
I've
rip
not
you
heard good
apart.
things.
The worst.
Very tough to get into. Same thing, trying to dress down. We don't
Didn't
know
bring
each
any
other.
instruments or anything?
No, we did. I think I brought a guitar. Corey brought a bass.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other, even though we're on the same flight from
Yeah.
New York City. Passports are all from Pittsburgh and New York. Well, Neil was with us, and he was a English, British, whatever citizen at the time.
Which made it even look sketchier.
Even
He's older than us,
sketchier,
and they knew
yeah.
about each other.
They gave us a hard time. We had a guy roadieing for us at the time, and they, for some reason, singled him out.
They
Put him through the ringer.
You know what? They singled out the weak one is what they did, man. It's like, that guy right there, bring him over here.
Yeah, they pulled him.
We'll find out what's going on.
Well, we thought we were clever, and we thought we'd go in, and as soon as we got off the plane, we separated. We didn't look at each other. We all separated, went through customs and stuff separately. I'm here by myself. I don't know these guys who look just like me, happen to have instruments,
Same
passports,
age.
same age, passports issued at the same time.
Yeah, from Pittsburgh.
From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
5234 Chesterfield.
Yeah.
We probably lived in the same house. We had the same fucking address. We lived in the same house. I don't know him. Never seen him before in my life.
What the fuck were we thinking?
We were 25. What does any
What the fuck were
25-year-old
we
think of?
thinking, like, sitting there thinking
Well, we
that,
all got
like,
in.
They'll never figure
And Neil's
it out.
still a citizenship, so he's fine.
Yeah.
We get in. We're doing a head count as we're like, I don't know you, but we're looking at each
Yeah,
other
yeah.
like we're spies.
Yeah.
And doing a head count, and we're missing somebody. Fuck.
We thought we were so fucking
Oh
slick,
shit,
dude.
we're all right. We won't mention his name. We don't want to embarrass him.
Yeah.
But we're missing someone. Where the fuck is he? Sure as shit. These motherfuckers knew, right? They had him.
Then after,
And I remember this stereotypical fucking London body.
well, we all got through.
the big fucking hat.
This is after we all got through.
Yeah, we all got
and
through, and we're
realized-
doing a head count, and we're missing someone. He, with the big, the tit on their head, they call it, comes over with like this suited, very important, high-ranking man, comes right up to us. Says, oh, hello, boys, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We have your friend, so-and-so, mentions him by name. We're just going to talk to him for a bit, and then we'll send him out to you and stuff. Keep in mind, we're trying to
Act like we don't
know each other. They fucking saw us coming from a fucking mile away.
Yeah.
And they come right up to us, and we're like, oh, thank you, sir, blah, blah, blah. And they walk away, and we're like, shit.
Yeah.
They got us. We're not supposed to even...
Implicated.
We don't know these people. We fell for it, and they laughed.
Yeah.
And then they released them.
And they fucked with.
And
they
they
fucked with the said person. And he came out. He was in tears.
Yeah, they had him in
man.
tears. Yeah. And they
I
told us.
probably would have been in tears too, man.
They told us straight up that they're just fucking with them.
Yeah.
Because they can.
I don't know.
No one likes
They
Americans.
just wanted. Yeah.
No one
they
likes
just wanted
Americans, especially goofy-looking Americans.
Yeah, that's what it
Americans
was.
don't even like Americans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, we voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Fucking
That's where I
self-hating.
draw the line.
Yeah.
Americans were okay until they did that.
It's over now.
I'm like, you don't.
Just gotta try to make him great again.
Obviously, you don't fucking
Just try to make
care
him
about
great.
anyone if you voted for that piece of shit.
Oh,
You don't
man.
care about yourself. But anyways, that's where we flew into the first tour. First time in Europe, and
It was just terrible.
overwhelming.
Yeah, terrible.
Were the gigs at least good?
Yeah.
Yeah. England. We did 3 shows in England. We did London. We did Stratford,
Bristol,
and Nottingham.
and Nottingham, and then we did Brixton in London.
Right. Yeah.
And here's my only thing I can ever really brag about, and my ultimate story, and we can even end the interview after this. I don't care. Is
Even an interview.
just talking, just rambling. I had 2 beers and I'm already silly. We played in Brixton, which in London is like a neighborhood in London, which the Clash did a song on the Guns of Brixton. It's the Jamaican neighborhood, kind of the rough neighborhood, the
It was
fucking
pretty rough. Yeah, it was a
revolutionary, very important, famous neighborhood in London, right? So we play, and we're playing this big show with like Oi Polloi and all these bands, and we're like, yeah, this is the shit. And it's like a day show. It's a fest basically, and it starts during the day. It's England. We're out drinking in the street, hanging out with our friends that we knew, Keith, and all these people we knew. He was fucking wasted on fucking cider, and great show, right? Mm-hmm. And Neil, keep in mind, Neil's with us, and Neil's this old British punk guy, knows the scene, and we're all like starstruck little fucking American punk rock boys. And he's pointing through the crowd. I see that guy, I see that woman. She was in this band that you love. That guy was in Icons of Filth. And point out all the people. No big deal.
No.
They're people. They're hanging out. They're at the show. They're doing what they've been doing since the 70s or 80s at the time. But we're all like, oh, like, wow.
Yeah.
And then we're hanging out, and I look, and there he is. I see Charlie Harper from UK Subs. My top 10, top 5 all-time fucking favorite bands, right? I'm like, holy fuck, Charlie Harper's here, right? So I think Corey and I even got the balls to go talk to him, the guts to go talk to him. And he's very approachable, very nice. And he's like, oh, I live here in Brixton.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the neighborhood and nothing punk rock, nothing UK Subs, nothing. Just talking about the neighborhood and why he lives
He was
there.
hammered too.
Oh, of course.
He was
It's 3 in the
hammered.
afternoon, and he's really cool. We're like, holy shit, man, that's so fucking cool. So we finally get to play. We're like one of the headliners, and after all day craziness, drinking, bands, punk rock, we finally get to play. And we're up on stage playing, going through our set, and we do the song Apathetic, which is on our first 7-inch, and it's one of the earliest Ausrotten songs, very punk. It starts with like the tom snared pogo beat with, the talking, and then kicks into the 3-chord punk song. We're playing it, and right in front of me, sure as hell, there's Charlie Harper. And he's staying up front, and he has an Ausrotten System Works For Them LP in one arm, and an Ausrotten shirt draped over his other arm, and he purchased. We didn't give it to him.
Yeah.
Didn't
yeah,
kiss
he bought it,
ass,
yeah.
nothing. He purchased with his own money, staying right in front of me, and we're playing this song, and that's when it really hit me. Like, holy fuck!
He ripped off the song.
When I wrote this song, I ripped off the UK Subs. And it's the song Stranglehold by the UK Subs. So when we stop playing and the drums are he starts singing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, wrote a song, and it goes like this. And then we'd kick in, and just
Sure,
on time,
yeah,
total,
yeah.
just on kick in. And part of me is like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. And then I'm like, how embarrassing.
Yeah.
He's sitting there singing his song to our song, saying, "You assholes ripped me off."
Oh, he was
No, he was cool
totally
about it.
into
He was cool about it. He
totally
loved it. And I was up there playing, like, so honored. Like, I was just like, holy fucking shit. It's cheesy. I'm not into, like, heroes and rock stars and all that shit, but come on, right? Charlie fucking Harper is singing his lyrics over your music.
Yeah.
In England. You know what I mean? And he was just like, and then we'd stop again. I'm like, it's so predictable, just like the UK sub song.
Yeah.
And he'd sing the next bit that was on the Stranglehold.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was like, you know what? I could die right now.
Yeah,
If I die tomorrow,
I never,
my
really
life
ever got
was
starstruck,
fulfilled.
but that was like one of those.
That was
moments,
probably
like,
the coolest
holy shit, you know.
That may have been my coolest experience
Yeah.
playing in that band.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not, but
Yeah.
fuck it, it is. It's mine. It's my. That's when I was just like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is cool. I think I might be doing something cool. That's all I have. So
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a crazy moment.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, it was sick.
That
yeah,
was
man.
cool.
It was
That was
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Most there was one that was.
There's probably other stuff that was much more important.
No. That was
I mean,
that was
Things,
that was a
but
good
for me personally, my personal greedy whatever for me, that was
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
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 I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff we did
Right at the top of the
politically
tour.
or activist if that's even a word, or influenced people or involved in some really cool fucking shit that did something cool for people.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, you gotta
politically,
enjoy the fruits
which
of
I'm
your labor.
just
every
as
now and
proud
again,
of.
you know?
But my own personal stupid politics aside, just
Yeah.
being a fucking going back to being a 15-year-old punk kid, seeing the UK subs at the Electric Banana with Broken Bones and shit like that. That was my little stupid
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Made
Yeah.
it.
That's one of my all-time favorite bands.
Yeah.
It'd have been like if someone from Black Flag or Discharge would have been up front while I was playing. I'd be like, wow. I mean, for me, UK subs, probably top 5, top 10 band. Obviously, when Dusty brought them just a year
Oh,
or
they
so
were
ago,
great. Yeah. They were
I
so
was like a
good.
little kid
Oh, they were so good. man.
singing
They
and
were
dancing.
so
That's
good.
that's one of my all-time favorite bands. Huge influence.
Yeah.
Black Flag, Discharge, UK subs. Many more, but off the top of my head right now, for sure.
Those are 3 pretty good ones.
Can't go wrong with those three if you
Yeah.
ask me, but I'm sure someone would argue with me, but you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Sit down.
You're wrong.
Sit down.
Yeah. I don't know. I drank. I was the party guy.
How long was that
That's
tour
right.
even? If that was like
That
the
was 6
first
weeks.
3 days.
That was within the first 3 days of
So
a
you
6-week
peaked
tour.
Pretty early then.
I did.
Yeah,
I could have
actually,
went home.
actually, yeah.
I coulda went
That's
home.
actually, yeah. I mean,
No, I'm
Europe was
joking,
awesome.
but,
I mean,
yeah.
we were
If anything, that was.
we were fortunate
yeah.
enough to be able to go.
It might have
tour
fed
over
my
there.
ego a little bit too. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I never considered myself a rock star, egotistical or anything. Like people bring up Ausrotten, I'm always like, ooh.
Yeah, I'm like,
Oh,
no.
I get shy and
The A word.
I mean, it took a couple beers to get me to
I-
even talk
I call
about
I
it-
was
it.
kind of
Yeah.
surprised you guys like.
I call
was
it
like,
the A word.
Obviously, like we all know each other. But I
Well,
was like,
address the
I don't know
elephant in the
if they
room.
wanna-
Yeah.
Let's address the
I don't
elephant in the
know if
room.
they
Well,
wanna do this.
No.
I know it's
No, I'm,
so over
yeah.
talked about.
Huh.
But
I mean, if someone cares, one person
We don't get
cares.
that. We don't. I mean, it's not. We talked about it probably more to each other than anything.
Yeah,
you know?
if anything, it's
So-
it's our own little thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
the
So
last,
I mean, if someone cares.
it's not like when
that's
he's
cool.
like try to.
I mean, I wouldn't ask otherwise.
Oh,
but,
no.
I mean, there are people that care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should
I
be
never
there.
thought there would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, when Blood Pressure covered Ausrotten, there was a Goose Geese.
Oh, American Ethic.
No,
Goose
they did.
Geese with that band from,
Tuesday, May 18th.
Tuesday, May 18th.
You know,
That's right.
Tuesday, May 18th.
Yeah.
Oh, Slices did fucking American Ethic.
It was, what was that show with the band from Portland?
Oh,
Hell
Long
Shot.
Knife.
Hell Show.
Oh, Hellshock.
I
That's
almost
right.
said Hell Bastard.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I remember just seeing your face and you're just like laughing and
Yeah,
walking away.
It's
And I
yeah.
was like,
Yeah. I knew it was coming because I busted them because we were sitting in a booth before they played, and I was sitting Eric was across from me. Adam was next to him. Tom may have been next to me. And Adam has his fucking phone out, and he's Googling Ausrotten lyrics. But in a way, like the way he's holding his phone, he's kind of almost like showing me. And I'm looking, and I see the image of the 7-inch, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" You know, I probably did that, just kind of joking, and at the same time, like, what the fuck are you doing looking up my band, man? What the fuck? Like, that's weird. So I kind of like was just busting his balls, and he was all like, "Oh." And I think Eric or somebody was like, "Oh," I'm like, you guys are fucking covering an Ausrotten song, aren't you? Yeah. And then everyone's always like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry." You're gonna get like mad. Is it gonna embarrass? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Do it. Have fun. That's cool. That's cool. Just don't ask me to sing it or play it because I haven't played it in so long. I wouldn't remember how.
Yeah. Don't invite me on the stage.
I don't give a shit. I mean, I'm flattered, I guess. Cool. Yeah. I'm glad it inspired people. It still does.
I mean, that was like.
Maybe I'm a little embarrassed. It's a little, because I'm a bashful person. I'm not. Yeah. I like, contrary to what people may think of me, I'm not arrogant. I'm not an asshole. I'm like. But if someone, at the same time, if someone wants to play it, fine. Cool. Yeah. Have fun. Glad it's still relevant. Yeah. It's sad that it's sad. It's sad that lyrics that you wrote, 25, 30 years ago are still relevant.
We had that same conversation about like, how is every Discharge lyric still relevant?
Yeah.
The threat of nuclear war is a thing again.
Yeah.
Jesus. Nazis are like always been around, but now they're like around. Yeah. They're empowered by fucking Trump and all this bullshit going on.
I know.
Racism's never going to go away. Fuck Nazi sympathy. I wrote in 1993. We released it in 1994. It's 2018. It's just as relevant now as it was then. There may have been a period of time where it was kind of It was relevant, but it wasn't like the whole Nazi thing wasn't.
Yeah.
Such a in-your-face threat again. Yeah. They all came out and crawled out from underneath the fucking rocks that they were hiding in for a few years. They're all empowered.
Conversation with
Erica.
Friend, I was like, I was like, fuck Nazi sympathy. Like, I don't
simple
care.
as that.
You know what you think you are, but like
that person's
it's exactly that. It's exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
that's exactly what it is.
You're an apologizer.
Yeah, that song wasn't even written about Nazis per se. It was written about the people who come up with excuses for them.
I mean, I'm from where all those people are from.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad. It is a very Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it may happen in other places too, but it's
always been.
It's always been a fucking thorn in my side.
Yeah.
Ever since
it's like, this shit doesn't happen in other cities, you know what I mean? It's just like,
it's
doesn't.
Not like this.
Not like this,
there's plenty of people.
The same people over and over.
There's people that I'm friendly with or friends with, and we probably don't agree on everything, and we choose to disagree, or it doesn't come up. We live in a real world. You have a job, you deal with people, you work with people, you go to the store, you go wherever, and there's gonna be people that you're like, ugh. But there's that kind of, not necessarily mutual respect, but there's that kind of like, but where do you draw the line, especially when those people are.
I can think of a couple places to draw a line.
But especially when those people, like, it's one thing in the quote unquote real world, or if you want to call it, outside of the punk scene, outside of the shows. I work with people that I don't agree with politically or socially.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And it sucks and whatever. But like if those people were in the punk scene and those people start coming around here or a bar or something I hang out in, that's a different story. And if those people, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and I'll say their views aren't that fucking extreme like a Nazi person's views are. Long story short, it's just like when those people are coming around and they're coming around the punk scene who are made up of, even in Pittsburgh, which is, admitted a predominantly white area, there's still people of color. There's, people, trans people, homosexual people, women, this, that. And these people are coming around and everything they believe in is against those other people, and people are your friends, people who are you. Come on.
Yeah.
What's the fucking question here? What's the problem?
Yeah.
Go away. I don't give a fuck who they were at one time, or how old they were, what band they saw, or whatever. So, no.
Yeah.
This goes beyond like, well, they had this one belief, it's weird, whatever, forget about it. Or, they're a Republican or something, whatever. No, that everything they stand for is
You stand
against.
Yeah.
It's completely against you and your family and who you are and your parents and your friends and your loved ones and
everything that is your life.
They would like to see you kicked out of the country or killed or whatever. How do you look the other way?
You can't.
You don't.
shouldn't.
And then it blows my mind that people don't get that. They're just like, well, but no. Yeah. Especially now in 2018, today's political climate with Trump in office and shit. This shit it's real again, man.
Yeah.
Not that it ever wasn't, but
it's more real than
it's real. It's the realest it's been in a long time, 20 some years.
I remember being scared when I was a kid and just felt comfortable since then.
Yeah.
And then, like,
I remember being terrified of nuclear war. Just
now it's a
straight
thing
up,
again.
man. I mean, it was just like there was.
Now it's a thing again.
Being
there
elected,
was,
being in Charlottesville.
Now it's a thing again.
Yeah,
you
that
saw
guy
it. Yeah.
get arrested who killed that girl.
Yeah, you saw it.
What the fuck is this?
Well, we've had those fuckers pull
How
guns
old am
on
I
us.
now?
We had guns,
Guns, knives.
guns. People pull guns on us
Yeah.
just because of a fucking song.
Yeah.
Which is cool,
Yeah.
That song really
Pissed
people
them
off enough.
Yeah.
But I'm
Still
sure
pisses them
But
off.
at the same
now. Oh, yeah,
time-
still-
At
the same time,
I'm
I'm-
sure it's not very fucking cool to have a gun.
At the same
pulled.
time, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
pushing 50, and I
yeah.
still have to worry about that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, that's not an excuse. I'm not like, well, I'll fucking say those 3 words until the day I die, But at the same time, you're almost like, I can't believe I still have to fucking say those 3 words
I don't want to
20 some years later. And I'll probably have to say them 20 years from now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unless
I
we're
don't want
nuked.
to. I don't want to get.
Unless
right.
I die.
Yeah.
Unless we all die by then. But.
Yeah. Which
Anyways, that's getting pretty dark.
go either way.
Yeah,
But-
as things often go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about Fleetwood Mac rumors?
Fuck that shit. Black Flag Damage is where it's at.
You're not
You want to
wrong.
fucking keep a record in print, which they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a reason why that record is still in print.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see any anti-parent stickers on rumors.
Rumors.
Motherfuckers were having babies to that record. They were becoming parents.
Yeah, but Fleetwood Mac. It's funny if you compare Fleetwood Mac.
Awful little fucking.
If you compare Fleetwood Mac to Black Flag, it was like who was doing all the drugs and and
Yeah.
fucking leading fucking.
The sad thing is, Greg Ginn probably loved Fleetwood Mac. He was a big Grateful
I'm
Dead.
sure he was. I bet
Which
he
I
was.
hate Grateful Dead. I'm sorry.
I hate
everyone,
the
but
Dead. Yeah.
I never got
Actually,
into
my
it.
favorite song is their disco song. They have
Yeah.
that disco song, whatever.
Shakedown Street.
Shakedown
Oh,
Street.
yeah.
I like
It's the
that
only
song.
song I can tolerate.
Yeah.
I get the whole hippie thing is cool.
Yeah.
Is it?
Don't get me wrong. I mean, whatever. Sure. I don't know. How
See-
do I know?
See, that's
I'm
the other
like
Grateful
Devil's
Dead.
Advocate.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
Grateful-
wasn't around then.
Grateful
I mean,
Dead artwork, fucking awesome.
Another
When I-
one, Deception.
Then when
Deception.
I was just like, I
Deception.
read that Running Wild. Yeah,
Look at
it's
those
like I
skulls.
bought a fucking Grateful Dead record.
Wait. All right, come on.
Womp, womp,
Come on. What's
womp.
the greatest album cover Deception artwork of all time? Come on.
Oh.
I know you probably fell for it. I fell for it as a kid. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Look at that artwork.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
you're expecting Iron Maiden,
Yeah, no.
Black Sabbath,
Yep.
Ozzy
No,
Osbourne.
you're totally right.
And
Yep.
your Paradise by the Dashboard. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta have a
What
weird
the fuck?
guilty pleasure. I think that shit's kind of.
You're right.
It's kind of a guilty pleasure, Meatloaf.
Yeah, but
'Cause
it's like
he
you
kind of
found
was a
yourself.
badass back then. Like you
Yeah.
watch his live performance, and he's out there, a very big man, sweating
Long
to death,
hair,
with a
yeah.
fucking wiping himself off, sweating. They say like after he'd perform, he had to go backstage and they give him an oxygen Tank,
yeah.
Mask. I mean, he gave it his all.
Oh, yeah,
you gotta respect that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, I
No,
think he's kind of a piece of shit
I-
now. I don't know if he's a shitty right wing guy now, but anyways.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be
He's
surprised.
nuts. Oh, he's
But no, he was. He got the
absolutely nuts.
he got the name
He's absolutely
Meatloaf because he was a big kid, and his dad abused him, and
Yeah.
his dad called him that as
Yeah.
as a derogative thing. You know,
Yeah.
you fucking Meatloaf. So he embraced it, he
Yeah,
owned it, and took
yeah.
it. He's like, well, my dad's gonna beat me up and call me Meatloaf. My name's fucking Meatloaf.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
I empathize. I sympathize.
No, but you're right.
I
You're
get
right,
it.
though, man. It was just like
He kicked
he
ass.
really, yeah. But when I was a kid, though, when you buy like,
But you bought that record.
actually, it was a tape. I remember
Yeah.
that. It was like you just kept fast
Yeah.
forwarding that fucking thing. Like, where's the fucking song at?
Where's
You
the
know?
hell Satan?
Yeah,
Fucking Number
yeah.
of the
Where's
Beast?
yeah,
Generals
exactly.
gathered in their
Where's
masses,
this hell that
like
you
witches
speak
at
of?
black- yeah, masses.
You're like just sitting there fast forwarding through that whole thing.
This
I remember
bat
my
was
cousin-
kicked out of hell for not being fucking hellish enough.
Yeah. It was, yeah, I did.
Classically, Josh Revel just told me how into that record he's been. With
Yeah, that's
But I have
that's
a
cool.
weird-
I'm
I
glad.
have
You know
a
what?
weird soft
I'm
spot
glad
for
he's
Meatloaf.
enjoying that
I have a
record.
weird
He's
soft
yeah,
spot.
yeah. That's
But the
that's a good one
artwork
for
is
Josh.
just like
He likes the same bands, but the worst records.
Yeah,
It's all of
yeah.
us.
Oh, what a yeah! I can, man. He fucking got me last week when we were up here. He got me about Kiss. Like he started breaking down the Kiss solo records to me. I'm like, oh, dude,
He loves
there's
Paul.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
he loves the Gene record. It's his favorite record. I like
I-
the opener.
I was-
Radioactive is good. And
Living in
See-
Sin's great because the lyrics are
See
so
Tonight
bad.
is a good like,
Living in
almost
Sin,
power pop
I always
song.
liked it because the lyrics are just so cheesy. They crack
I
me up.
couldn't. I haven't listened to those records.
Well, here's
years.
something funny down my Kiss.
The
Here
Peter
it-
Chris one. Oh.
The Lick It Up. I just heard that song. That All Hell's Breaking Loose. Remember that song from that album?
Yeah.
First time probably since that record came out like 30 some years ago. To the point like I had to play it for Rachel. I was like, listen to this. She's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, this is when Kiss tried to rap.
So I don't remember.
And
that
funny
song.
enough, like in my work van, I have Sirius XM, so I flip through the channels and Ozzy's Boneyard, play some cool shit. They play that song on there all the time. It's one of the worst Kiss songs, and they play it. And Paul Stanley's kind of doing this like, you remember like in
white guy
82,
rap?
83, rap.
Yeah.
What's that rap music? Like
Yeah.
people tried to do it. You got the fucking Aerosmith Run DMC collaboration in like
Blondie.
85. Blondie rapped in like 79. Like everyone was trying to
Yeah.
rap. So I can't believe we're recording this, but the opening verse and all the verses, like the chorus is very traditional 82, 83 heavy metal, but the verse is so funny. It's this whole like what's it called? I'll paraphrase it or whatever. Paul Stanley's kind of like, I was walking down the street one day,
Yeah, that
and this
blah, blah,
guy
blah,
comes
blah,
up to
blah.
me, and
Yeah.
he looks me up, and he looks me down, and he says, "What be this? What be that? Why you gotta look like that?" And I'm just like, "Oh God, he's trying to
That's
rap."
on Lick It Up.
It's on
Wow.
that, yeah.
Wow.
And then like maybe quite possibly the greatest lyric ever written, next to like Black Flag, "You're One of Them," is he ends that verse and goes, "Hey man, I am cool. I am the freak." And it kicks into the chorus. And like I remember hearing that as a kid, and I was just probably like thought it was cool. Like, yeah, I'm a freak. But hearing it as like a middle-aged man, I'm like,
Right,
oh
yeah.
my God, this
Wow.
is so
That might actually be
fucking
the patient
awesome.
zero for rap rock and new metal.
Please Google it when you get a chance. It's like so
Here, I thought
What's it-
was
fucking
what's it
Faith No
called?
More, but
funny. All Hell's Breaking Loose is on the Kiss Lick It Up album. So terribly bad, genius, amazing.